All right, welcome to LCB. Today we are doing what we promised last week. We're going to be doing another little one person's watched it, the other person hasn't. In this case, it's going to be Gangs of New York, a movie Robbie Fox has never seen, but Clemmer, obviously,
hmm
one of your top movies.
I love it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like in my top like 40 for sure, I think.
Top 40 for sure.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that. But before we get into all those or into that big movie breakdown, we'd have a bunch of news that we haven't gotten to yet this week, including Pharrell's Lego biopic, Piece by Piece, directed by
Finally.
we all we were all waiting for this one. Morgan Neville directing, Pharrell, Gwen Stefani, Kendrick Lamar, Timberland, Timberlake, Busta Rhymes, a whole bunch of other musicians in it as Lego Peep versions of themselves. This is one where I think you watch it and it's like I think we both had like a similar tweet about it, Gooch. Like, what was your one? It was
I can't even remember. It's like probably just like who is this for? Like, or it's 30. It was just it sounds like a 30 Rock pitch.
yes,
Like
exactly.
it sounds like something Jenna Maroney is like reading for.
Yeah, I thought it was like an Awesome-Mo movie, like from South Park, where it was like it's like the robots like Pharrell biopic. They're made all Legos, and it's like sure, but I don't know who that's for. Pharrell, I think is like a genius magician, like super smart, creative, all that stuff.
Seems talented. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if I really care about his life. I don't care about it in Lego form. I don't care to see this movie.
Lego movies are for kids.
Right.
Do kids know who Pharrell is?
I don't
They know the
I don't
happy
know.
song.
Kids
But do
now?
kids do kids like
Kid
biopics?
That was like 2014.
Yeah, I
Listen,
don't know.
are Legos for kids anymore? I mean, these sets are $300. What
No,
kid
but
is
Lego movies are for you know what I mean? Like those are for kids.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah.
If you're an
Yeah.
adult, if you're a grown up and you're gonna go, yes, I like one for the Lego movie. That's weird.
Even like the Lego Pharrell
I did that.
biopic. You know what I
See,
mean?
I think that's the bigger issue here is that it's a Pharrell biopic. I think a Lego biopic is kind of genius. It's
I
just
like,
like
yeah, I like the idea of it. There's something about it. I know how weird it is, but like even I watched the trailer and I was like, I think this looks good.
I
Like
think
I
it,
think it's going to be an enjoyable movie, to be
I
honest.
think an animated biopic is a really good idea. Something about it being tied into Lego specifically is like, why this? You know what I mean?
It is, you have that reaction why this, but that's why they open the trailer with like Lego Pharrell being like, what if we do my life stories Legos? And the guy's like, what are you talking about? That's
Yeah.
strange. Like they're acknowledging how strange it is up front. I like the cast of like a bunch of famous people we know. The
Yep.
one thing that's interesting, the trailer I thought played more like it's like half a documentary in Lego form because the narration is very like documentary-esque.
Right.
Yeah.
And the director has done almost exclusively documentaries.
Yeah. Exactly.
So then it goes back to what Gucci said, then who's it for?
Yeah,
Like
I don't know, but honestly,
like
like I'm not going to the theater and saying one for the fucking Pharrell Lego movie. When it comes out on streaming, no doubt I'll watch this.
I'll check it out as well. That's not when I'm gonna jump to the theater to go see. I would like biopics in general are kind of hard with that.
oh
Like I like Pharrell. I don't think if it was a regular biopic, I probably wouldn't want to be going to the
You
theater
know,
for
like
that.
Pharrell, I'm interested to hear what his life story is.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he thought like my life story can be a universal enough uplifting tale that
Yeah.
maybe this will hit on like even people that don't know Pharrell. Maybe they'll just know him through the Lego movie. Maybe it's his way of getting the next generation to know who he is.
Exactly.
I hate biopics. I like when it's a specific event. So like Argo, that works really well. But when it's a biopic, you're jamming 80 years into, 120 minutes. It never
You
works.
don't
Like
like any biopics?
like Ray is a horrible film.
You mean like
It's a great performance
Yeah.
by Jamie Foxx, but if you like look at just the script, if you like watch the movie, like just the dialogue and what's happening in the plot, it's ridiculous and
What
stupid.
about like Walk the Line?
It doesn't work. Like great performances, but as a movie, as like telling a story, it does a bad
You mean
job.
like as long as it's in a specific event?
It's awesome. Those work for like 13 days. Is a very good movie. It came out like 2000 about Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
Very good. And then you have like I think you can do historical events. I think trying to jam an entire life into a movie is a disservice.
Do you have any that like break that rule for you?
I'm trying to think.
Like Rocket Man? Are you a Rocket Man?
I have not
love
seen
that movie.
I have not.
Oh, well,
It's great.
Rocket Man was really good, but that's also I feel like a little more like artistically inclined.
It is, and they picked a very specific way to tell his story that was
Yeah.
smart. But yeah, you have to be smart about it.
Yeah, I wonder what other ones we would have that would be you would not like, I guess, would be the
walk
word.
hard. Dewey Cox got to
hard.
think about his whole life before he performs.
Yeah, and like Walk Hard does a great job, like kind of
Yeah, it makes
of
fun of that.
exposing how bad biopics are and how
Malcolm
stupid.
X, it's a good one.
Yeah, Malcolm X also, I think that kind of, it's not an event, but his life was so short, obviously, and it kind of really focuses on just like what, like a 10-year period, really.
Yeah.
Social Network.
Is a not a biopic, and I think it kind of deals with it's I guess it's more of a it's a very short time span as well. Biopic, Social Network is brilliant. It might be the most important movie of the
Amadeus.
century. Amadeus is a very good movie.
That's also a very limited time, though.
I also think that deals less with a biopic and more about a rivalry.
Yes.
and
agreed.
that's the strongest parts of the movie is the Solari stuff.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs,
I've not seen it.
the newer
Either one.
Fassbender one.
I have not
Fassbender
seen
one's
either.
good.
Fassbender one's really good.
I like the Fassbender one.
The Right Stuff.
The Butcher one isn't.
That's not a
bad, but it's just
biopic.
that.
The one from the 80s? That's not a
Yeah,
biopic
it's
at all.
Are biopics.
No. That's
What about have we said Oppenheimer yet? I mean,
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer
is
it deals
pretty
with an
much a
event.
full.
True.
I think they
I don't
go-
know.
It's less his whole
The
life.
event is the fulcrum point, but I mean, he's got old makeup on at the end. He's
Oh,
trying
but
to
that's
look like
a very
20-year-old at the
small-
beginning.
Yeah, well, the ending is very small. I think it deals really with what happened at Los Alamos. That's Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, I think, proves my point in that if you can narrow it down to a specific event, you can make a brilliant film. And there was Oppenheimer's genius, of course.
The other trailer we had was Maxine, obviously Ty West, third movie in this trilogy. Mia Goth, Elizabeth Debicki, Michelle Monaghan, Robbie Cannavale, Halsey, which I didn't know was in this. Lily Collins, Giancarlo Esposito, Kevin Bacon. Way bigger cast than
And either of the two.
Well, the first
One had some, but like
they were shot back to back. So like they shot the one movie, and I think when we interviewed Ty West, he was like, "Yeah, we were just like, why don't we just do another one while we're here?" And the studio okayed it, so they didn't really cast on a ton of people. But I think actually the new Superman, David Cornsweet, was in the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the love interest. After surviving a massacre in Texas, Maxine continues to pursue her dreams of becoming a famous actress, all while evading the Night Stalker in 1985 Los Angeles. Obviously, a real serial killer in the Night Stalker. Still looks fucking cool. I loved the first trailer. I still really like this trailer. I think the first one, something about it was a little bit cooler, maybe. But either way, I'm very in on Maxine. Loved both those movies, and this, I think, the way that was trending just based off the look, we're getting 3 totally different types of horror movie, which I really like from him.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first two knocked out of the park for me. Obviously filmed back to back, which is still insane that he pulled that off with kind of no studio backing on it. I mean, those things were filmed at a bare minimum budget. So I'm thrilled to see what he can do with an actual backing from A24 here. I mean, the 80s setting is just kind of genius for a horror movie, like the slasher setting. It looks so cool. And Mia Goth is, like she says in the movie, she's a star. Like she is an absolute force in this role. So sign me up. When does this come out? Is this summer or is this?
I believe it's end of summer.
Okay, that's a good release point for it. Yeah, no. And the cast obviously huge this time.
Halsey
in there? Halsey? Come on.
I didn't realize
baby.
that until I saw it on the cast list. That's nuts.
Ashley.
I met her
July
once.
5th, by the way.
I met her.
July 5th?
She was introduced as Ashley. I didn't know who she was. Swear to God.
I hope it doesn't get lost.
Oh.
Isn't there something big coming out July 5th besides this, isn't there? Well, this summer is a disaster. It's a complete.
Huge
I mean,
shit show.
this is the worst summer in history
Bad
for
blockbuster.
movies. It's already gotten off to a horrible start, but and some of those movies that came out, I thought were going to be maybe the things that could be a hit.
Yeah.
You look at some of the weeks, like if you do look at the schedule, like on box office.
This week is bad.
It's crazy. There's nothing coming out, and then I know we obviously had the strike and everything else, and I think you're still kind of feeling some COVID effects.
Memorial Day weekend cratered. That was rough.
I mean, every week's been horrible. Last week was a disaster. I don't think any movie hit 15 million.
Yeah.
Apparently, all the studios right now are just saying the motto right now is survive until 25. Like they all know that they're fucked this year, and they just like have to stay afloat.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this, and I don't think you've seen anything like this since before Jaws. Jaws was the first summer blockbuster in '75. We're talking. This is 50 years of Hollywood and show business and movies, and this is the lowest point.
Maxine will make good money because horror movies usually do, but it won't make blockbuster money.
It
Yeah,
won't make
it won't
that
break
much.
through
I mean,
like
does
that.
anyone know like
Horror movies always make about
X did okay? What did X make? 30 million?
That was also like in the middle of COVID.
It was, but
So
then the second one made less.
That it wouldn't surprise me.
Like I don't think people.
But horror movies generally make way more.
They
money.
do, but they're also not the third part of a kind of. And this isn't a traditional trailer. This isn't like where somebody can shut their brain off and go see Swim Fan or something. Like this is like or whatever the hell. Like like this is like a movie that's very well made. I really respect Ty West for creating a franchise out of thin air and showing that there is still creativity in Hollywood. But I don't know if this is gonna make real money.
Yeah.
Twister,
Either way, I'll
baby.
be there.
Twisters is gonna save cinema.
Twisters, hell yeah.
Twisters and Deadpool's gonna make insane. Deadpool's gonna make $1 billion.
It better.
Yeah.
You don't
better.
face your fears.
And you
You
worry
ride 'em.
about
You rad your fears. The
Like-
summer of Glen Powell.
there's a thing a theory called the theory of redundancy, which is that if you do something once, you're more likely to do it again, right? So like if you go to a baseball, you always want to like have like a lot of promotions in April if you're a baseball team, because in theory, if I can get you to go once, I can get you to go again. Are we now trained not to go to the movies anymore? Are we trained to now
yeah.
because and if that's the case, maybe there is a ceiling for how much Deadpool is going to make because people have been going to the theaters for months.
I don't know. Deadpool feels like it's on its own island right now of like guaranteed success because of the way they're talking about it.
Yeah.
And they have so much faith in it.
And everyone's gonna bring their like young teen kids, like all that shit.
From kids to adults to
Yeah.
like you'll grab your buddies and go see this because it's a rated R raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
But then the kid's going to see it.
I think still, yeah.
Yeah.
I think because Wolverine is on the poster and he's in that bright yellow suit and he'll be wearing the mask in the movie. I think even like unsuspecting parents will take their kids and
Yeah.
they might leave in the first 5 minutes when there's a pegging joke. But
Yeah.
Robbie,
think
do you
they'll
think
go.
this hits $1 billion?
oh yeah, I do.
Really?
I think Deadpool 2 hit like 750 million. And I know it's a different like movie landscape now, but you're adding the X-Men, Wolverine, and saying this is the next like phase of Marvel
Deadpool
on
was,
top of that.
what, 2019?
I don't know if this hits $1 billion, man.
I'm really, I've never been this low, other than COVID.
I feel like hype is crazy for it.
Mhm.
Like over the top crazy right now.
I think
I feel like they've lost so many people though the past 2 years, and then you're losing a ton more on the R rating.
Mhm.
But it does help to be like, I know we lost you with Marvel stuff, but this isn't Marvel. This
How
is
did-
Deadpool and we're bringing them in? Like they have that at least going for them where it can feel separated.
If has been third weekend release, right? Last weekend.
Yeah.
It's made $80 million. How is that possible? How did If not make money?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a kids movie with Krasinski and Reynolds, and it is
Like it's like the #1 movie last weekend was the Garfield movie in its second weekend release. And it made
It's-
$14 million on June
Damn.
2nd.
that's
How
Phoebe,
is that
it's the
possible?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge effect.
yeah,
Everything she touches underperforms.
it's true. Right after
I mean, Furiosa, you can kind of understand why. Like, all right, well, it was a sequel that the first one barely made a profit.
Yeah.
It came out 9 years later. It's a prequel. No one likes those. It doesn't have the remaining. So I can kind of understand why it's tanked. But like, I mean, in the Fall Guy, I guess you can make excuses for it too.
The
Like,
kids movies are usually the indicator,
like
right?
what are we doing? Like, this
Kids
is
movies usually just make money.
what, a $14 million opening weekend in June.
Yeah.
I don't know if other than COVID, if I don't think I've ever seen this.
What's weird with If too? I don't think I saw really anybody involved with If promoting it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think I saw.
Ryan Reynolds out
I
there.
kind of agree, to be honest.
I thought.
didn't
Did I
see
see
a
Ryan
lot.
I don't
Reynolds out
see
there?
like
No?
any of these guys like because usually whenever they have a movie coming out, they're tweeting up a fucking storm. So it's
Yeah.
like Reynolds, like any of these guys are like they'll be on like every late night circuit, but like I don't really see any of them doing anything funny or out there or trying to promote it. I think they're just like especially with Reynolds, he's like I'm just gonna hold pat until we get to Wolverine. And just
Yeah.
kinda like yeah.
You know what has me worried? No one seems to give a shit. Like I'm not even seeing like discussion about how bad it's doing. It's like no one gives a fuck. Like, you know what people are interested in? Like Bear coming out on streaming. People are interested in what's going on streaming. I'm really worried for like what happens with movie theaters and how this affects. Are we looking at a landscape where 20 years from now, movie theaters become like a niche thing?
We were saying we tried to
Maybe,
think of like
probably.
plans for movie theaters for a while. I've been saying that movie theaters should be like you should be able to watch sporting events at movie theaters. Like go watch the NBA finals in a movie theater and like treat it as if it's a section of a stadium and like just have guys going up and down giving out snacks, whatever. I'd be there.
That'd be
It'll
good.
take one idea. There'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
one idea, and that's what they need is one thing that can save them. Because
Yeah.
right now they just like the pricing packages. No one cares about these pricing packages, even though they're fucking
No.
incredible. If you don't have A-list right now, you're an idiot because
Yeah.
sooner or later they'll jack that price up. I mean, nothing they're doing is getting people back into theaters. Nothing at
Nothing.
all.
And no one cares. And I was listening to a podcast and they were saying that they're talking about the box office disasters, and they were saying how like we're more of an event society than ever before, and maybe that's a reaction to COVID. Because like
Probably, yeah.
in 1918, you had the Spanish flu, and then that begat the Roaring Twenties. People wanted to get out because they were insulated for so long. That made people kind of go out, and I feel like we're seeing that, whether it be like Taylor Swift concerts or going to shows or just like hearing you know, especially the young people in the office talk. Like it's about like even like we're all going to Chicago for the dozen. Like we're all talking about going to this Stevie Nicks Billy Joel concert, which is kind of a old fogey concert, but we're all excited and people are amped up. And like people's eyes like, oh, we'll all go together, we'll have a great time. And I'm super excited. We're all super excited. And I don't feel any of that excitement for the movies. And it's starting to like really bum me out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I think what we need is Tom Cruise to make another movie.
I get, but
Yeah.
he made one last year, didn't do well. It tanked.
Wait, what are you talking
Well,
about?
Mission Impossible did not make money.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Well,
about
that was
It didn't make money.
well, they released it a week
Yeah, it was-
before Oppen
Yeah, exactly.
Barbie.
Bad release date
Whatever.
and the budget is kind of deceptive in that they
'Cause
shot
they went through all the COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
and they did a
right.
lot of the next movie.
And they did a lot
already.
of it back to back. So maybe
Yeah.
right. So maybe this one. I hope you're right. Because by the way, that was a brilliant movie. It deserved to make way more money. I was thrilled. It was well worth the price of admission. I felt like I got every dollar worth.
To fucking Barbenheimer though, man. It really hurt. The release date fucked them bad.
Yeah.
They were
All right.
idiots.
Yeah.
I hope you're right because that was I thought a fantastic action movie.
Top Gun did great.
Top Gun did great, and that was really kind of still COVID was still happening, and another great movie.
You need a meme. You need a meme to go. You need a meme or just something huge culturally to get people to go.
Yes, exactly. They need to stop having like these fucking. Did you see like these TikTokers that they send to like the red carpet events where they just like run bits on people on like the actors? It's brutal, dude. It's really bad. Yeah. But speaking of Marvel stuff in general, Sean Levy in talks to do the next Avengers. That just feels like kind of a natural sort of marriage. Like, throw in the same guy because I'm assuming Deadpool Wolverine's gonna be successful no matter what. I mean, even if it's like not at the standard that people want it to be, it's gonna make a ton of money, and then everyone's.
What if it sucks? I'm sure it's gonna be good.
See Universal.
I'm sure it's gonna be really good. What if it sucks?
I think it'll still make a ton of money out of it. If it sucks, it won't make $1 billion, but I think like it'll still turn a profit if it sucks.
I'm guessing
I think
good.
It's such a strong brand at this point. The Deadpool brand, I think people are so loyal to after the first two movies.
For sure.
I meant more like what if it sucks with Sean Levy directing the Avengers. But I'm guessing if it sucks.
Yeah, that would be.
But I'm guessing if it must be playing really well in dailies and what the cuts they're seeing, or else they wouldn't.
That's what I'm thinking.
So I bet it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
I agree. And then also Venom, Marvel adjacent, the Venom: The Last Dance trailer.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride to our boys. And to all the white girls out there seeing Venom horsecock getting turned into a horse or whatever. And then directed by Kelly Marcel, who is the writer of all three Venom movies, but it's his first time directing one. Hardy, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Juno Temple, Reese fans, right?
Rice. I think it's
I fucking hate
thought it was Reese.
Maybe it is Reese. Reese Ifans.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Fuck the Welsh. Stephen Graham as well. We were just talking about Stephen Graham earlier off pod because he's in Gangs of New York. Venom 2 was so putridly bad,
awful,
that I almost think there's nowhere this can go but up. But this trailer was also very bad. Not a good trailer. So I don't know. There's nothing about Venom that excites me. It feels like you're just kind of waiting for like it to be put out of its misery. And like I almost just am happy for it to be done. And Tom Hardy can move on.
I would love for it to be done. Just what is Tom Hardy doing? Like
I was wondering that about everyone in the movie. I was
so strange.
Halfway through the trailer, I'm like, why did they do this? Like, why did like Juno Temple do this? Like, I'm sure obviously it's for money.
A lot of money.
But like, how much money do you need to like sell your creative soul to be in something so horrible, so deplorable? You know it's gonna be horrible, and you have that stupid Venom voiceover. Like the whole thing is just horrendous. And like, why would you do this? Like it's legalized prostitution. Like what?
Yeah.
It's horrendous. It's one of the. It's so horrible, and you know it's going to be terrible. Like, why would you do this?
The second movie is, I still bring it up to this day of people being like, what's one of the worst movies you've seen recently? Or people are like, you're so positive about everything. Name a movie you hate. I'm like, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. It's the easiest one to name. It was so, there's no redeemable quality.
When we were there, like, Andy Serkis introduced the movie.
He came out, introduced the movie. Venom fans are going nuts.
10 feet away from us.
We left the second credits hit. We were like, we don't give a fuck about post credits, whatever.
First one to meet Serkis outside of the fucking
and yeah, we saw Serkis trying to get out of there. He was like, what'd you think? We were like, it was great. It was so good. We loved it.
We had a great time. Talk to you tomorrow. And it was a great interview, but that was a rough one.
Guys, I'm kind of excited for this.
For what? I think it's gonna be like so bad it's good because
kind of
even the way they're looping it into No Way Home, it doesn't make any sense in canon of like the bar from No Way Home and all that.
Exactly.
The fact that he's already mortal
canon
or whatever. And
weird.
Yeah.
It's like they don't care, and they don't care. They truly don't.
Yeah, I think like Sony at this point, Sony Marvel, like they just like we want to do anything to make regular Marvel's job more difficult.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like anything that can.
They had the balls to bring Michael Keaton into Morbius and try to loop those together. Allegedly, Andrew Garfield is in this movie as Spider-Man.
What?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
They must have paid him so much.
That would be the fucking best. That would be awesome. After fans asked for it for years and they put him in Venom 3.
Yeah.
The rumor is that after No Way Home, he wound up in Venom's universe and has to get back to his. So I guess Venom's universe isn't his universe. It's its own thing. Who gives a fuck?
Eddie, they gave us the gay Spider-Man.
The
Eddie.
gays.
What was the Madam Web, right?
Yeah, I watched that
Oh,
recently
so
on
bad.
Netflix.
That was really bad.
It wasn't as so bad. It's funny as I wanted it
No.
to be. It was mostly just bad.
The
Bad.
fact that in the digital release they didn't fix any of the ADR stuff is
That's
insane.
crazy. It's
They-
as bad as The Room.
they
It's
really
truly like The Room level ADR.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked. Yeah, because he first watched it on Netflix. Like we had seen it in theaters and like
It's
yeah,
so bad.
just fuck ups, whatever.
I mean, half the movie is shot with the villain just from the back of his head.
yeah,
talking, so you don't see his face at
easy.
all.
And like I assumed when we watched the movie that I'm like, okay, like obviously English isn't like his first language. Like maybe they just had trouble trying to match up the shit. Apparently, like he speaks English perfectly fine,
What?
and they just did that much of a fucked up job doing his ADR. Like that's how bad they were at it.
Is this? I ask this with all sincerity. This is not a joke. I'm being really serious here. Is this intentional? Like, is Sony really trying? Like, Sony has to realize.
Like the Spider-Man movies are all pretty good. Like it's weird.
But,
No, but
yeah,
Sony
those are
with
in
Marvel
collaboration with
does.
Marvel.
Yeah.
It sounds like Marvel is literally like, we'll let you put your name on our movie because we're using Spider-Man. But like, they're literally movies made to keep the Spider-Man contract. If they don't make these
Right.
movies, it reverts back to Marvel. So
But doesn't it benefit them to at least make a decent? Like, why put out?
Make money.
you would
Marvel-
think, why are they hiring the screenwriters for Madam Web after they bombed on Morbius? They had Gods of Egypt.
Yeah.
They have like 10 movies,
Yeah.
and none of them are above 30% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And this is obviously Andy Serkis didn't do it, but we had the writer from the three. Why would you just like look? Like Venom 2 was horrible. We all saw it. It was atrocious. Let's just start over again. Like, let's just get a different, a different director, different writer. Maybe we can try again. Why would you? I think maybe there's some sort of like tax shelter. There must be something going on behind the scenes of why you would keep making
Maybe it's Tom
intentionally
Hardy.
bad movies.
Maybe it's Tom Hardy is so difficult to work with that they're like, we can't get a
Probably
good movie
three-movie
out of it.
con-
Doesn't explain Madam Web though.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Or Morbius or fucking Kraven the Hunter, which is going to be their next shit bag.
Oh god.
Oh, no, they're doing that?
Hunter.
And yeah, and they
about that.
did great casting. Like
Who's
it's
attached?
like Aaron Taylor Johnson is
Johnson.
playing Kraven,
Good.
which is like awesome. Like that could work. If you told me he's playing Kraven in Spider-Man 4 with fucking Tom Holland,
Yeah.
I would be excited.
Who's
for that.
directing it? Do we know?
It is
No idea.
it is JC Chandor.
And it's another one of those
Who is
movies that?
that?
has gotten delayed
Oh.
and delayed. And
He
delayed.
did A Most Violent Year, good movie.
Okay.
Triple Frontier.
Okay.
All Is Lost, which I don't really remember too much of. I know it's a C movie, and then Margin Call, which that's
So he has a resume. I just haven't heard of him, but he has a resume.
He's from Morristown, New Jersey.
Oh shit. Jersey represent.
That might not be terrible. Maybe-
Knock on wood, but it was supposed to come out this summer, I think, and they delayed it to December because they got to do
no.
reshoots or something.
Oh,
and it's
Clemmer,
like,
Clemmer, go
no.
watch the trailer.
yeah, it doesn't.
Oh,
look-
really?
doesn't look-
Oh no.
Didn't look great.
It's
I
a
think-
really bad trailer.
I think this is a work. I think they're intentionally. I think Sony's intentionally making bad movies. I don't understand why. I'm not that smart, but there's too much. There's too much
They
poop in
tax
the.
write-offs and something.
There's something going on. Something doesn't.
Something's happening in Japan, and I don't like it.
Yeah. The writers of Iron Man did Craven. Throwing it out there, food for thought. Also that movie has Christopher Abbott, Craven the Hunter, guy we've been talking about a ton.
I don't know what to think about
He should
writers
have
on
been.
comic book movies
Should
anymore.
have Craven the Hunter, yeah.
Didn't David S. Goyer write like The Dark Knight and also like all of the worst movies ever made?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Like-
happens.
I know.
So strange.
Russell Crowe's in it. Alessandro Nivola, who was in a couple movies I really like.
Russell Crowe's in this Craven the Hunter movie.
Yeah. Fred Hershinger, who I think is an up and coming. He's like a very funny actor, I think. And Ariana DeBose, who you believe won an Oscar for Best Supporting.
In West Side Story.
West Side Story.
Yes.
After that, we have Alien Romulus trailer, directed by Fede Alvarez, who did Evil Dead and Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe was awesome. Big Alien just hit its 45-year anniversary, I think, too. Kaylee Spaney and Isabella Merced are the two big actors in this, set between the events of Alien and Aliens. The story concerns a group of young space colonists who, while scavenging a derelict space station, come to face with the most terrifying life form in space. We've talked about this before when we've talked about Alien Romulus in general. Fede Alvarez being the director of Don't Breathe, which is like so similar to the sort of horror from the first Aliens movie, is like an awesome sort of pairing. I don't
Love
think
that movie.
Yeah, really good movie. And it's very similar to like the whole sort of thing you get in Alien where it's like you can't move, you can't make a sound, or the alien will find you. Like, and he said, I think that this movie is kind of a combination of like the more pure horror of Alien and the action sci-fi of Aliens,
Mhm.
two very different movies. So I don't really know what to think about it even after watching the trailer, but I love Alien, always love for more content from it. Really liked Prometheus, didn't love Covenant, loved Aliens. Alien 3 I think is underrated. People coming around to it now. Alien Resurrections or whatever, very bad.
Yeah. So this trailer looks. I'm happy. I have not seen Don't Breathe. So it sounds like I need to see this.
It's really
Very
good.
good.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a good
okay.
movie.
This trailer was trash. It's dark. It looks
Ooh.
boring.
Whoa,
I-
boo.
Oh,
I thought
Boo.
I was no I did not find anything interesting about it. I was like, this feels like a shitty horror movie that could be any alien story, much less the great alien legacy that Sigourney Weaver and Ridley Scott
you
created.
don't like the no one can hear you moment?
No.
That was cool.
I
thought that was sick.
I think there's something in the water.
it didn't it looked, the worst alien movies are the ones that are like in darkness, and this one felt like it was in darkness.
Alien 1 is pretty dark.
Yeah, it has kind of a different. I don't know. I didn't think it was. I thought, especially in the first act, is actually pretty bright.
Aliens, if anything, is brighter.
Yeah, I thought Alien, like Alien 3, is really dark.
I can
Yeah,
watch
Aliens
these
is pretty dark.
movies. This is a kind of a blind spot for me. Like I've seen
The Alien movies?
almost all of 1 and 2.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if I've ever sat down and watched either 1 in full though.
Oh, yeah.
They're always on TV.
Yeah,
So I've seen all the famous scenes, the chest buster, the face hugger, all of that.
Yes, Buster. That's me, brother.
But I haven't seen like Prometheus or any of the other ones that you meant, Covenant or whatever. So I can't claim to be an alien guy. I thought this trailer looked so sick that it makes me want to watch all.
really.
Very
Yeah.
good.
What did you? Maybe I'm missing. What did you guys like about it?
Just like the vibe of it, maybe like Kendrick said, like maybe a Don't Breathe type vibe, and
Yeah.
like I love that Don't Breathe. It's like one of my favorite like recent 20th century, 21st century horror movies. But yeah, I don't know. There was just something about like being on a ship with these aliens. I love the idea of like even when it's not the Alien franchise, when they made that movie with the symbiote,
Oh, Life.
like
Yeah.
that movie, not even a good movie, but like when you
Being trapped, in general.
trapped on a spaceship with aliens, like there's pretty much no way that's not going to hit for me.
Yeah. Gooch?
I liked Kaylee Spaney's arms.
She's in
But
Knives Out,
seriously,
right?
no, I liked the last I thought that was a nice touch, like the final 20 seconds, cutting the sound out,
The sound was
putting all
good.
those.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome. Like you have a real chance to play, and all the Alien movies have done it, playing around with
Is
sound.
this girl the next big thing?
Yeah.
she was
for sure.
she was very good in Priscilla, and I thought she was phenomenal in Civil War.
Civil War is pretty good. Yeah.
Priscilla,
the
Civil
old- that's
War,
the-
this, and she's in Knives Out 3.
Yeah.
Oh, and they've been trying to get like the hottest new actors in Knives Out.
It
been,
feels like she's the next
she's
Janet
been-
Ortega.
She's been liking a lot of LCB posts lately.
She
Haley
know what's going on.
has-
She doesn't
Oh.
follow us, but I don't know what's going on. She's getting fed the Barstool algorithm.
I wonder how much confidence the studio has in this. The release date is mid-August, which is typically a graveyard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you consider how horrible the summer is, you think they would have bumped this for July 4th or July. You put Alien, you can maybe get some older audience members like myself to get out. And then you have a young hip cast, and you get some younger people to go out.
It's a very young cast.
So you think that would be like a great thing. The fact that they're dumping this on August 16th
Yeah.
leads me to believe they don't have high hopes for it, or it's not good, or a combination.
Wonder when Prometheus was released. Because that, again, we always talk about Prometheus, but I really liked Prometheus.
That's pretty polarizing, yeah. People kind of hate it, and then some people absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott releases his movies, I feel like, exclusively in November and December.
Wow, this one was in the United States June 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
was
yeah,
wrong.
This is a better cast.
No, but
than I remember, too.
Ridley Scott, especially recently, has definitely been releasing movies much
well, he's,
later.
he's been trying to get the prestige ones out. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is definitely more of a. I would say
Yeah.
Prometheus wasn't going for that. Which, by the way, Prometheus also had a very stacked cast. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm looking at it now. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus
Charlize
Christ.
Theron, Fassbender,
Yeah, Fassbender,
Danny
Michael,
McBride.
Danny McBride,
Idris
Idris Elba, Benedict Wong, fucking what's his Guy Pearce? I'm pretty sure is
Yeah,
Wayland.
Pierce, yeah.
Yep.
Who plays
Patrick
the girl?
Wilson.
Like Naomi Rapace or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I forget her name, but yeah, the whole cast is pretty fucking banger. I just love the one scene of like the ultra mega Chad just sitting there, just like drinking the juice, and it.
Is
like,
that a
it
straight
roads him.
prequel to all of them?
Yes, like full. It's like said like I think like 1,000 years or not 1,000 years, but like a few hundred years before any of
Gotcha.
the other stuff.
So you could watch that standalone.
I'd say so. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
maybe-
Could you? I haven't seen this come out. Could you watch that before? Could you? Like, let's say you're gonna introduce someone to the Alien. Like, my wife has
Yeah.
never seen the Alien movies. Like, what would I'd probably have her watch it in order of release.
first.
I would
Got
definitely
it, yeah.
order of release, but it wouldn't. I don't think it would hurt your watchability to watch.
Okay.
it,
All
if
right.
that makes sense.
Prometheus is so different. It's so much more like epic sci-fi. I don't know.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Where Alien is basically just a horror movie.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
space. And incredibly effective one.
Mhm.
So well done.
Elle Fanning's gonna star in a new Predator movie, just another Alien vs Predator. Great. I watched that on FX probably 5,000 times.
I also loved Prey. I thought it was
Prey
awesome.
was actually very good.
Yeah.
Alien vs Predator, not a good movie, but Prey was legitimately very good.
And what they're doing with the franchise is exactly what I was hoping they would do with the franchise
Go through
after
time?
Prey. it's an anthology now. So it's just like a predator lands at a random point in time, and you get to watch people fight him.
Yeah.
You watch like the prey was like a Native American tribe fights him. The one girl in particular, like drop a predator in the fucking World War II, drop him in the Civil War, like drop him in random shit. Let's see a bunch of different eras fight these things.
Absolutely.
It's Dale Earnhardt and fucking Predator on the beach
Predator,
in
yeah,
Normandy.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking awesome. And then Jake Gyllenhaal has joined The Bride of Frankenstein movie, directed by his sister Maggie Gyllenhaal. Penelope Cruz, Christian Bale, Jesse Buckley, among others, are on the cast right now. Don't know what to think of it. Frankenstein's hot in the streets right now.
He is.
Frankenstein
Yeah.
is very hot in the streets.
Who
People
was
are
supposed to
loving
be Frankenstein too? Someone else was supposed to be. They dropped out and Bale filled in. Maybe Austin Butler.
It seems like he would love to play Frankenstein. That would be an
But
incredible
it warmed my Dark Knight loving heart that Christian Bale and Maggie Gyllenhaal will reunite on this.
back together. Yeah.
First time since then.
Bruce.
Bruce, you can't do it, Bruce.
And Jake, who was rumored to be Batman at one point.
Yeah, that's right.
And Jake Gyllenhaal, of course, the bomb and source code.
Yep, the bomb and source code, and working with their sister, which I don't know that that's happened before. Like,
I don't know if
no,
they've ever.
Oh, they were in
Donnie
Donnie Darko
Darko?
together. They were acting.
yeah.
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 But working, I guess, like behind and in front
Have
of.
you guys seen her directorial debut with Jesse Buckley? What was it called? With
it was
with
cool.
Olivia Colman?
Oh no, I'm thinking of the one he did with.
No, Maggie's
Yeah.
directorial.
Wait, did Maggie? Is it like Outworld or Outlands? Or
called?
The Lost Daughter.
Lost Daughter.
I did not.
Have you seen
Oh.
this? Jesse Buckley. It's
Jesse Buckley's very good.
and she's okay. Olivia Colman really made the movie, and I didn't really love the movie. It's about a woman. Olivia Colman goes on vacation, and she kind of through flashbacks and seeing another family, kind of has this regret about abandoning her family, and you're kind of seeing it through those eyes. And the movie itself was a character study. It wasn't maybe the best script of all time, but I loved how she directed it. The tone was very ominous, interesting, kept you captivated. I'm really excited for this. That cast is obviously incredible.
Very cool.
All four of those actors are people I'm really interested in seeing in a movie. And I really like the tone she had. I think she could do horror really well because there was a lot of like, you kind of kept waiting for the shoe to drop and something like horrible to happen to Olivia Colman. It never did. And you kind of just left it there going like, why did I just waste my time?
Love it.
But the entire time of the movie, you're waiting for like something like that. She's good at dread.
Yeah.
And I think this could be really good.
Gooch, you're a big Frankenstein fan.
Yeah, I am. But does the Bride of Frankenstein interest me all that much?
White Boy
know.
Summer.
Wasn't
I don't
the
know.
Bride-
I don't
didn't
know.
People
There's
like
so
the Bride better, the original Bride.
like you said, there's just so much Frankenstein shit coming out here, and
Yeah.
and it has already started. I mean, Poor Things, Lisa Frankenstein. I think there's a few more coming up. I think there's
Yeah.
like a straight Frankenstein coming up. I don't know. I feel like I might be Frankensteined out.
It looks cool as Frankenstein.
Yeah, the picture was very sick of him.
It gave me Jared Leto Joker flashbacks. I won't lie.
Oh, did it? He doesn't have tattoos though. Does he?
No, do you remember when they did the Snyder cut and as
Yeah.
part of promo for it?
Oh,
Jared
yeah.
Leto did a full in Joker makeup Jesus photo shoot?
Jesus.
I don't
photo.
really
Yeah,
know what to call
the
it.
thorn crown. Yes. Oh,
Crown of Thorns.
don't remind me.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have seen anything in IMAX lately at Lincoln Square, but they've been playing the Joker 2 trailer on that screen, and that might hit $1 billion. That thing looks fucking unreal.
It might. Yeah. First
It
one
looks
did, right?
really,
Yeah.
really good.
Ryan Reynolds is joining Sandra Hüller, who was just in obviously like 5 different Oscar movies like this last year, in Project Hail Mary, Lord and Miller movie. An astronaut tries to save Earth alone while in outer space. Really not a lot of details here. Or was it Ryan Reynolds that was in it, right? Or no,
No.
it
No.
was Ryan Gosling was in.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes,
I don't know.
Gosling.
Spelled that wrong. But Ryan Gosling joining him. I don't know anything about this. It's 2 actors that I think are very talented.
One thing that maybe will make you more excited: the book it's based on is written by the same writers as The Martian.
Oh, that's very
like that.
interesting.
Andy Weir, yeah. So that's why I'm the most excited for this. I love The Martian, one of my
Great
favorite
movie.
books of all time, too.
Really good movie.
Book is fantastic. Love the movie. I felt like they nailed the movie as good as the book. So yeah, that's like my entire excitement. Is he has such a great sense of humor too, the author, that putting Lord and Miller behind one of his stories and scripts, I think is awesome. I'm not a big book guy, so I told my sister about this, and she has since read the book that this is based on, and she loved it.
Oh,
It
okay.
was great.
Yeah,
Great
our comments were saying it's better than The Martian, book-wise.
Yeah,
Like in
Wow.
terms of
people
his,
really like the book.
his bookography, whatever the hell you call that, bibliography.
Bibliography.
Also Greek Fraser, cinematographer on this.
Oh,
Nice.
That's a big get. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is pretty stacked from every corner.
I thought it
Yeah.
was like Greek Frasier, and I was just picturing like Kelsey Grammer dressed like
in a toga.
yeah, like selling a fucking hero or whatever.
But yeah, no, everything about this sounds great.
Did you guys ever see Last Man on Earth with Bill Hader, the show on Fox?
Heard great things
Watch
about
It's
it.
very good. Lord Miller had a lot to do with that, and there was a subplot of Jason Sudeikis who plays God, who is the main character in the movie? SNL. Help me out.
The main character,
MacGruber.
MacGruber.
yeah.
Who's the actor?
Oh, Will Forte.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Will Forte is the main character in Last Man on Earth, of course. His brother is Jason in the show is Jason Sudeikis, who is an astronaut. And they shoot some things in space. And it's a very limited Fox budget. They did a pretty good job.
Okay.
So I'm kind of all in on this, I think.
Yeah.
I think Lord Miller really funny.
They also technically have shot a Star material before.
Yeah, they've shot
Solo.
most of a Star Wars movie.
That's true. Yeah, well, that maybe now I'm less excited the more I think about
That
movie.
I'm always
What?
curious
Oh,
to know what
come
their cut
on.
of that movie
That
would have
movie
been like.
sucked.
Well,
Stop
the Lord
it. Make
Miller one might have
Solo
been
2.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up.
That
No.
was a
Make
horrible-
it.
I want my
Oh.
money back.
Fuck the Acolyte. Give me Solo 2.
Yeah, I'm in on this. This looks
Yeah.
good.
Speaking of Star Wars, this is the two big shows just to talk about. The Acolyte, obviously dropped. I've seen the 4. You've seen 2.
Yep.
Gooch, have you seen both of the
I've seen
episodes?
2. Yep.
Yeah. So like, I was definitely, I think, too down on it going into it, or because like I was expecting maybe we get something similar to Ahsoka, maybe something similar to Andor, or Mandalorian, all 3 of which I really, really liked. And I think this is really, you kind of nailed it in your guys' review on My Mom's Basement. It's very much more just like a young adult show. And I think the more I think about it like that, I am like more, instead of being like, I don't like this, I'm more just like, whatever, it's just not for me. It's not something that's built for like my audience demographic or whatever. There's parts of it I really like. There's a lot of it I really don't like. In general, I think the 3rd episode was the weakest out of the 4 that we get, which you guys haven't seen yet. And then the 4th episode is the strongest. So it's kind of like a bump, but like it was definitely getting way better as it was going. So in general, without the episode 3 bump. But what did you think of it, Gucci? I haven't heard your thoughts on it yet.
Like you said, you said it was very CW, which actually got me excited.
Oh no.
Because I love like trash, like just trashy drama, like shit like that. Like I was like, all right, if they're gonna be trashy and campy, like that could be fun. You just meant the costumes. The costumes look fucking terrible. This is an absolute pain and an eyesore to look at. The makeup looks bad. The costumes look terrible. The sabers look weird. Everything about this does not look
Oh, I
like
thought the
it was-
sabers looked
Dude,
normal.
it's a $200 million show. Like
That's
it should
crazy.
Not, it should
Where'd
not
the money
look this
go?
bad.
Yeah.
Because the cast isn't big either. They're not paying any of those cast
No.
members a lot of money.
And then, like you said, the plot is just, it is very YA. I don't know if I'll continue watching this show, which I feel bad about, but like, if I hear it turns itself around on the back end, I'll come back and watch. But like for now, weekly, I don't think I'm going to be keeping up with this.
I'm
It's
definitely more positive on it. The first like I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and I think you helped. I think you lowered my expectations,
Which,
and I was like
yeah.
expecting the worst. And like you said, it's a show for teenagers. It's
Yeah.
clearly made. Like the writing is pretty shallow. Like it's like the kind of writing that Obi-Wan had, where it's like, I want to do this, you can't do this, please, okay.
Yeah.
Like that's as much argument as everything takes. But as like a young adult show, it feels very, if you made Rebels like live action in a way, and Ahsoka did that better. But like stuff like a ship crash landing and her being fine afterwards, like that's the kind of shit that happens in Star Wars cartoons. I think that's why
Outer
about
space
it.
fires.
Shit like that. Like
Yeah.
it's stupid. It's not great. But personally, as a Star Wars fan, I would rather have Star Wars content that I'm like, it's all right, it's pretty good, than no Star Wars content.
You just answered my question.
Oh, what was that?
Why do all these things suck?
Not all.
Why-
Not all of them.
Not all,
Why,
honestly, a lot of them are good.
why have all of these things just gone into complete dumpster fire? Marvel movies are horrible. Star Wars content has become just absolutely terrible, borderline unwatchable. Why? Because
Star Wars has been pretty good.
Shows have been good. This
the
is
movies are horrible, and why is it? Because, and Robbie, you're right. Like, there's enough now of a fan base of loyalists who will go see all these things, and entertainment now is so segmented that you'd rather have mediocre content than none.
Yeah.
And if there's enough people who think like that and are willing to spend their hard-earned money on that and enjoy it, for their sake, then we're gonna just get watered down content, because you know what? You don't have to make it good.
I do feel a lot differently about movies, though, and a streaming show that I'm already paying for Disney Plus. If they put out a movie this level, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I agree
Okay.
with that. I mean,
So
way
there-
more.
there-
But even though you're investing more of your time watching this,
Yeah,
time
it's
plus.
different. It's 20 minutes a week, so it's like
it's a 20-minute show.
I
No,
think
it's
the
a 5.
episodes are 30, but like counting credits.
Okay.
So it's such a short, like easy watch.
Yeah.
And nothing in it to me was offensively bad. Like I didn't hate the Obi-Wan show, but like the first episode of it, there's this chase scene in the forest where young Leia is being chased around by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And you could put like the
Cartoonish.
Bonanza music.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the worst chase scene of all time. And I was cringing and I was like, I can't believe they're doing this.
Yeah.
First 2 episodes, like Gooch said, you could tell right away. You're like, all right, this doesn't look like the level of Star Wars, the level they usually put into it. But I didn't think any of it was like cringeworthy or like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this, going this direction with Star Wars. It was mostly just like, oh, all right, that was entertaining enough. I'm entertained to see where the murder mystery is going, but I'm not like thinking about it like I would like Andor in between week to week.
See, I was about to say, I love Andor and I'm so happy it got put out, but at this point, it's like everything that comes after it, I cannot help myself but compare the Disney Star Wars stuff to Andor. I've seen what they can do with a smaller budget than everything else.
Way smaller, yeah.
And it's like, how does that get made? And then they turn around and they continue to shoot. I know the volume was a big thing at one point, but they continue to shoot on the volume. They continue to just over CGI everything. Just put care into your product. Put care into your product. Your fans care, so you should too. It's not that complicated. Like,
wow.
They should have been way more out there, I feel like, with the marketing of this show being like, this is a young adult show, too. It's clearly, like, it has teenagers in mind. There's a scene in the first episode where Padawan walks in on a shirtless Jedi, and he's jacked, and he's
that guy sucks.
He's like, oh, sorry, I'm doing my laundry. And it's like,
I just remembered Cord.
Yeah, they want, like, teenage girls to go, ooh, in that moment. And it's like, all right, but it made me go, all right, I guess that's what this show is. It's a show made for teenagers. And Andor is a show made for adults.
By the way, quick correction. Season 1 of Andor was 250 million. Granted, more episodes.
I was going to say they also shot a lot of it back to back. They shot some of season 2 afterwards, but I think they shot 1 and 2 a lot back.
Yeah.
You guys know way better than I do. I want to ask you guys this. Other than WandaVision, Mandalorian, and Andor, you take all the Marvel streaming shows, everything they've done, you take all the Star Wars streaming shows, everything they've done, is anything other than those three what you would call good?
Ahsoka was good.
Loki was great.
Loki was really
Loki's
good.
the best
Loki
Marvel
was very
thing.
good. Okay.
X-Men 97 is fantastic.
I don't count that.
Not live action. Okay.
Don't count
All
that.
right.
Miss Marvel is kind of in the same territory as this, I think, where I'm like, this is just a YA thing.
Not made for me. I thought Hawkeye was really good, to be honest.
You're okay.
Hawkeye,
really liked Hawkeye.
yeah, the Christmas thing,
The Christmas one,
really good. Falcon Winter Soldier is meh. Legion, but doesn't count towards this, but Legion was really good.
People love Moon Knight. I wasn't as high in Moon Knight as most people were.
It's really the production value that really bothers me on this stuff. It's the biggest studio in the world, and it's just like,
dude,
they're cutting corners.
They have the money. They have the money.
Yeah,
they have every resource available.
Especially because with this show, I was very excited because like we're getting this 100 years plus from the start of Phantom Menace. Totally different era of the entire
we've
world.
literally never seen this.
Yeah, never once. We've had a way over examination of this exact specific time period that we've gotten nonstop in every other Star Wars property that we've ever seen. We're finally out of that same like 100-year time period, and now we're in a totally different one. And it's just kind of like, this should have been, I think, on the level of like an Andor. It should have been like a full exploration into like Old Republic stuff, like whatever. Even if you're gonna do that, could be a totally separate thing. Like Knights of the Old Republic series.
It also worries me a little bit being this is the young adult show and Skeleton Crew is up next, which we've been told is like Stranger Things, but Star Wars, and the whole cast is kids. Jude Law.
Yeah, that one's gonna be rough.
Listen, hey, Clemmer, apparently that one's the best one.
I was gonna say people are saying that one's good.
Who's behind on that? Who's the
Skeleton Crew?
Yeah,
Jude Law's the main guy.
No, I'm talking about behind the scenes. I think behind the scenes they have a
is it
great
John
team.
Watts from Spider-Man?
You're right.
It's Watts, but there's also other
John
people
Watts
involved.
is the creator, yeah. Him and Christopher Ford, who did, I'm not sure most of these other ones. He did Homecoming, some other stuff with Watts.
Crew.
All right, maybe it'll be good. Like we shouldn't just judge it but I don't know. I just find that these franchises are spread so thin and just putting out such mediocre at best content for the majority of the time. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm very disappointed in a lot of it, and also like as someone who's more of a casual than you, Robbie. Like it makes me like not want to watch any of it.
Yeah. It was Daniels, by the way, that wrote some of the episodes for Skeleton Crew, which is they did everything everywhere all once.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and David Lowery.
Yeah.
I will
on it
say
too.
it seems like the studio has heard those concerns at this point, and like in 2024, they know and they're moving
Yeah.
forward in that. Like the Disney earnings calls, they're very much like, hey, we know we spread everything too thin.
Yeah.
We're going quality over quantity at this point. But I think the shows that are still out now that were made 2 years ago are like,
But how dare
Nah.
they even change that philosophy to begin with? How dare they go quantity over quality?
I know.
Like, fuck them.
when Disney Plus, that was allegedly like when Disney Plus launched, it was like, okay, we got to put shit on it. We got
Yeah.
to put shit. They were hiring Kevin Smith to write shows that never got made. That like, he's like, oh yeah, they paid me. That was nice.
Yeah.
He wrote some show. There was like apparently a famous Disney series or book back in the day of like kids break into the park after dark and it's like night at the museum, but
Yeah.
Disney and the characters come to life. He wrote a whole series for Disney Plus.
It just
They
sounds
paid him
kinda
for
fun.
it, and they were like, yeah, we're not gonna
does
make
sound
that,
kinda
but
awesome.
thanks.
Yeah.
That
It
sounds
does. Yeah,
fun.
it sounds like something I'd watch.
Well, I
Yeah.
just watched. I was talking with you guys about it when we were having lunch, and the Superman movie with Nicolas Cage and
Yeah.
Tim Burton that
Yep.
never happened. Nicolas Cage got $20 million. Tim Burton got $5 million. It was pay or play. So like, they got it no matter what.
One of my favorite pieces of memorabilia. I have the script to Superman Lives. I went to a Staples. I printed it out. I got it at the Loop. You know, I
Yeah.
like really paid for it, and I brought it to a Kevin Smith signing.
And he signed it.
And
That is awesome.
I was 12 years old. I stood in line for like 7 hours at his comic book store, and he signed it to Robbie. Fuck Tim Burton. And it's the greatest. Like
That is
I have it to
awesome.
this day, and I'm like,
That's very cool.
yeah.
That's really
For you.
Yeah.
I like that story.
The other big show that had a drop was Clipped about the Donald Sterling thing. First 2 episodes in Hulu. I watched it. It's
Yeah. What did you
the
think?
casting's brutal.
It's weird, right?
It's
What's Lawrence Fishburne's Doc Rivers?
Lawrence Fishburne is like the most believable casting.
Ed O'Neill
By
seems
far.
like a plain cartoon character.
He's I mean, I don't know
Who's
anything.
Sterling, Ed O'Neill.
It's Ed O'Neill,
Yeah.
yeah. Who like from everything I'd ever seen about Donald Sterling is that he was like the least lively. Like he's just a gelatinous blob that couldn't move, and like, but he's like very like cartoonishly over the top in the series.
Jackie Weaver's his wife.
Jackie Weaver's pretty good for whatever that's worth.
Very good in Sublime's playbook.
Yeah. But the rest of the casting is just brutally bad. I think in comparison to Winning Time, which was so good at how they cast all these people. And I think that I'm not sure if you or someone else had mentioned it. Like, but is it just because like we're not that as far removed from this Clippers team? You know what I mean? Like obviously that all stuff was in the early 70s. Like none of us were
Well,
really
it wasn't really. So that's funny you say that because like I had issues with Winning Time.
turn to the 80s. Sorry, yeah.
It was the 80s.
Yeah.
And I had issues Winning Time because I was alive for it. And there was lies. It was not true. That whole show is bullshit. And anyone who's like 45 or, early 40s plus, my age or older, none of us like it. Like a lot of us have major issues with it because it's all lies.
We were wondering who didn't like it. And I guess it's your guys. Yeah.
Because we lived through it.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit. And it's funny that seeing you kids, you guys lived through the Clipper shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't think so. The actual show is fine.
Okay.
But it's just the
Just the
casting is
casting,
really
okay.
like they have like there's one scene where it's Ed O'Neill standing next to the guy who's playing Blake Griffin. I mean Donald Sterling. I mean I even looked up after because I'm like, am I crazy? He's like 5'7". Blake Griffin is 6'10". They were the same height.
Yeah,
Like,
that's weird. That's
crazy.
weird.
Crazy lack of effort into
Do
some.
they in the first 2 episodes? Do they recreate the Anderson Cooper thing as like a flashback?
Not yet. Anyway,
Because that interview is so all time.
Yeah.
Big Magic Johnson. What has he ever done? Can I ask you that? What has he ever
Yeah.
done? Well, he's got charities. He's done a lot for his good. He's got AIDS.
Yeah.
AIDS.
They didn't get to that yet, but I think the person that plays like his girlfriend is pretty good. Then Sterling and like their private moments are pretty good. Like everything else, that's fine. It's just the fact that like they put not really a lot of care into making these people look like the people they're
Yeah, it's
playing.
weird.
It's really weird, and it's very like just kind of funny how like that's the Clippers version of Winning Time is ass, and the Lakers version looks incredible. Just visually,
Yeah, I mean,
visually
I guess budget too. They had a lot more
Yeah.
budget for Winning Time, which is also why it didn't get renewed. It was just
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
an expensive
So
show.
Yeah. Such an expensive, and it broke up. Like what is it, Gary Sanchez or whatever?
Yeah. Although they sounded like they were working things out again though.
Hopefully,
I think because the show ended.
yeah, hopefully. But that's Clipped. Again, don't hate it. Just think the visually, especially they had the Steph and Clay, and they look bad, man. Doesn't even look anything like them. Okay, so now we're gonna do our little movie thing. Gangs of New York, 2002. It's a movie that I think us three had all seen at the very least, at least once. Gooch, you were saying you hadn't seen it in a long time, right?
I hadn't seen it in a long time, but it was a movie I really liked when I was a kid. 'Cause
Same.
It was like, like Leo, like Bill the Butcher, so cool when you're in like high school. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think he's cool.
Yeah, no, he's still very cool.
One of the greatest villain performances of the century.
It's a big cast. I think even bigger in retrospect because a lot. And we were talking about this too before. Just a lot of people in this cast that we didn't realize were in this cast. Like they're incredible, like Stephen Graham is in this, and like he's like now
By
way
the way,
big. Like,
we were talking. I was like, yeah, a guy from Band of Brothers is in it, and you're like, Stephen Graham's also in it. I did not put that together. That was Stephen Graham.
the same guy, the same guy. Yeah, that was Stephen Graham. So Gangs of New York, we've seen it. We'll start with Robbie. Just a general. What did you think of Gangs of New York?
I loved it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Clemmer kind of like set me up for it yesterday. We were talking about it a little bit, and he was like, it's long, but it's not plotting. You don't really get bored. And that's true. Like every scene, every act of the movie kept me entertained in a like very active way. Probably could have cut 15 or 20 minutes and I wouldn't have minded it, but I wasn't like ready for the movie to end at any point. I also watched Casino for the first time this year, another Scorsese movie I'd never seen. I didn't like it to that level, but it was close. Like I really, really love Bill the Butcher, obviously. Daniel Day-Lewis is Bill the Butcher. So I have like a weird relationship with Daniel Day-Lewis, to be honest, because I really like him as an actor in even movies that I don't like love. Like I know it's one of Gooch's favorites, but I don't love There Will Be Blood as a movie. I love his performance.
Couldn't agree
Timer,
more.
all time.
And it's like, I feel like the movie gets a little like boring and long and stuff, but he's great in it, obviously. Have no Lincoln is another movie where I'm like,
Yeah,
he's fucking awesome as Lincoln. It's
The
a pretty
movie's not
boring
good.
movie. Yeah.
It's not a good movie.
So
I completely agree.
this felt like redeeming to me almost. And then I was like, oh my God, not only do I fucking love this performance and the outfits he was wearing and the always like wet bangs he's got and the haircut, everything about it.
he was soaking.
But like, I love this movie. Like I left this movie, my main takeaway being like, I think that was my favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performance because I liked everything that was around him too. It was very cool to see young Leo. I thought young Leo looked like he belonged in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie for half of this one. He's got long hair and almost the Orlando Bloom like beard.
Little.
He was great. I heard a lot going into this about how Cameron Diaz sticks out like a sore thumb. I did not think she did, to be honest. I don't think her performance is nearly as bad. Her accent every now and then, she's like San Francisco, and she's like saying like crazy shit like that. She says at one point, like, we should go to California. And I was like, all right, Cameron Diaz, chill out. But everything, like her actual acting, I did not think was like jarring or stood out, or I wasn't like, oh, this is weird. Like, thought that was all good. And just, I love a revenge movie, a rivalry movie. I did not know anything about Gangs of New York going in. I knew
the real thing, or
like old school. I knew Bill the Butcher was like a real guy, even though the story's not necessarily real. So realizing one, I didn't know Liam Neeson was in it. Seeing he's the dad, he's killed, and then realizing, oh, this whole movie is going to be a revenge story. I was so in. So I honestly really, really loved it. I would say, like, will we save a score for later?
Yeah,
should I say a score now?
Now and then we'll evaluate.
I would say my score for it would be like an 8.5. Like, it's not like one of my favorite movies after watching it. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm such a Gangs of New York guy. But there was very little about it that I could point to and be like, I didn't love that.
What did you think about the cast? What was your biggest takeaway?
Amazing cast. Like, and I liked seeing guys like John C. Reilly and what's his name? Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
Pretty serious for the whole movie, where it's like, I'm used to them in comedies and stuff. Brendan Gleeson's done more serious stuff too, but watching them just play legitimate roles. I also loved seeing like the accents of the time that people were doing and stuff. The Daniel Day-Lewis accent is amazing. Great. Like the coolest. He's a New Yorker, but he's got a little bit of an old school thing to it as well.
Yeah,
that's
like that's
so
a kill.
Good.
Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah. Daisy.
So cast, I would say like A+ in terms of cast, because also there are a lot of big names in it, but it's not like an ensemble cast. You know, like it's very much the specifics that are everyone knows, and then people were like, oh, they're in it. So in that case, yeah, perfect.
Jim Broadbent as Mayor Tweed, I thought was
fantastic.
Tweed is great. Yeah, Tweed is great. Gleason is one of my favorite roles. I mean, the scene at the end where
the notches alone is super fucking cool.
The notches, and when fucking Bill the Butcher, that notches you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so good.
Yeah. Who would you say is your MVP?
How could it not be Daniel Day-Lewis? How could it not?
How about we say other than Daniel Day-Lewis?
Other than him, it was Leo, to be honest, because like Leo's another one of like, I'm not like a Leo guy. I like Leonardo DiCaprio, but there's certainly movies where like I'll watch him and be like, he's a little douchey. He's a little fucking pretty boy. In this, I was fucking with him. When he wakes up in that bed and Bill the Butcher's just sitting there,
Yeah.
like the tension I felt for him, knowing who he is and knowing his journey. And when Bill fucking, the knife trick with Cameron Diaz on stage, like all of those scenes, I was rooting so hard for Leo that I would say, yeah. And I didn't know until today it was his first time with Scorsese.
Yeah.
Makes sense after a performance like that. Scorsese was like, I'm sticking with you.
Yep.
See, non Daniel Day-Lewis MVPs, would you guys be the same?
No. Oh no, it's Scorsese. Yeah,
think-
Scorsese probably the MVP of this, even ahead of Dan. I love Daniel Lewis. Everything Robbie said, I agree with. Everything except for the score. My score's a little higher, but Scorsese. So this was a movie that was rumored about my entire childhood.
Mhm.
You heard about this movie he wants to make about the history of New York. You heard about this forever. 80s, 90s. It's all you heard about. Scorsese kept saying every time he promoted a movie, he would say, "Oh, but I really want to make this." And it was constant budget issues. And I remember it felt like every month in Entertainment Weekly, which is kind of how you got news back then for entertainment stuff. You would read an article about how Scorsese's trying to get this fucking movie made and can't. So the fact that he stuck with it, and I guess if you look at like the historical stuff, you're right. A lot of the character stories are not necessarily true, but or they're like kind of dramatized,
yeah.
or they're amalgamation of a bunch of different people. But the clothes they wore, the actual
I was curious about that.
the draft riots, the attitudes in the city toward natives versus people who are off the boat, and how much they hated, even though they were like second generation.
Yeah, they weren't
This
that far.
hatred they had for anyone new. All that stuff, I guess, was entirely true. The 4 points, all those things were exactly true.
Firefighters, I love the firefighter
Firefighter.
rivalry.
They would fight. They would
Like, you fucking called them?
Yeah.
No, this is our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
We're not like saving your house.
And I love too how it shows it's so easy for us to throw on Fox News or MSNBC. It's like, oh, everything is the worst ever. Oh, it's the most violent we've ever seen in the society. It's like, no, like 150 years ago, like things were really violent.
But
like,
it also
all the time.
like reminded me of like, oh, things haven't changed that much in that one of the first scenes where Bill and his gang are walking through the town and they're talking about, oh yeah, they're gonna take the white man's jobs. I was like, sounds like shit people say about Joe Biden right now.
Yeah,
Like
currently.
it was crazy to watch. Like this movie takes place in the 1800s and the politics are oddly similar. Like the way people are talking is like pretty close to right now.
I mean, Boss Tweed is a man who's simply in politics to be in politics.
Exactly.
He'll do whatever he can to keep his job safe, and we see that now. I mean,
Just being in power, not what
Yeah.
you do with the power.
whatever it takes to keep getting elected.
What about you,
I
Gucci?
thought, on that boss tweet, I thought one of the best lines of the movie is at the very end when he's like looking at all the dead bodies being piled up, and he said, "Look at all those votes."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's not even thinking about the lies. Yeah.
Nope.
Very a lot of good votes here.
This is very much bottom tier Scorsese for me.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just all over the fucking map. It feels like something that he loved and wanted to make for a long time in that sense, where it's like he had so many ideas. He has so much love for New York City. It's basically like seems like his Roman Empire. He just wanted to get this on film. I think he's going a lot of different directions that pop up later, especially last year with Killers of the Flower Moon. Feels like a spiritual sequel in a way where it's like another turning point in American history. Seeing how people are handling it. This felt the same, not done as well. I think the accents really take me out. The voiceover really takes me out. The score, I think, is kind of bad.
Oh, wow.
I think
like
that
the score.
score is, I don't
really
like
like
that.
it.
I
I
like
don't
the
like that.
score. I honestly didn't love his direction when it came to action shots.
Sure, I agree with you
The
there.
big
Which
battle.
one?
So specifically the first one.
I love that one. The second one, I don't like.
The first one with Liam, I thought was almost like he was falling into like a 90s, early 2000s
Yes.
trope of the way he shot it was like
So
dude, are you trying to-
contemporary of
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
I thought that was strange. It almost took me out of the movie right away because I was like, that's not how Scorsese shoots movies. Why is he doing this?
Yeah.
I love that whole thing. I love the snow.
The
I love
action
the,
itself too, like, and I wouldn't hold this against the movie, but pretty much every single shot in that battle is someone whiffing by 10 feet.
Yeah.
And someone going like
Oh.
so
It's
some
like
of that
him
didn't
doing a chop on somebody and then like obviously not being chopped and like in shot, like
like like every single shot.
Yeah.
So that like, yeah, that to open the movie that way, I was kind of like, oh, is this going to be like a kind of a schlocky, like goofy Scorsese? And then it got pretty serious, and it reminded me like, no, Scorsese knows how to shoot a movie. But yeah, that opening battle I didn't love.
I love it. I
What-
love
what-
it so much.
Kinja, can you tell me what the budget on this was? Because to Clemmer's point, this
Oh, I
does
looked it up.
look
I think it's like
incredible.
90 million. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 97
So
million.
that's-
Which was
yeah,
a
that's-
ton for a
yeah.
Scorsese movie, and
Yeah.
it was quite a bit of money even back then. But for a Scorsese movie, especially, he was known for making movies not cheap, but mid-range.
The
Also,
production value, I mean, as far as like the houses and the costumes and everything else, I think was
Yes.
great.
Oh,
Did
it's
they
incredible.
build
S
all of that
tier.
on a backlot, like the entire town? Like, how
That's
did
what it
they
looked
do
like.
that?
I believe so. I believe they did.
Huge.
I
When
know-
they pan out in that first scene, especially, you could see how big of
I-
the set is.
I remember they would interview, like they had interview stuff going on during the making of, and how people would talk about how enormous the set was and how like you felt like you were in a different
In
town.
order,
so
in order
cool.
to create the sets, the production was filmed in the large Cetacea studio in Rome. The production, they created the
Oh.
entire thing in Rome.
Rome. Wow.
To make Lower Manhattan, including 5 Points a slum, section of the East River, Lower Stretch of Broadway, and for 5 Points, he recreated it from a painting from 1827. That's crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
That's nuts.
That's nuts.
That's- yeah.
I love stories like that about like movies with giant sets. People talk about it with the Tim Burton Batman movies and
Mhm.
stuff of like you feel like you're in Gotham. Like I would love to visit a movie set like
My
that
only
one day.
issue with that, as a quick aside, is that Gotham's empty.
Oh, and
There's no one there.
They drive past the movie
Yeah.
theater 100 times.
Yeah,
in that
that's right.
movie.
But there's no one in the streets because
Yeah.
you only had actors. It wasn't,
The Batman
This
did
I-
that so well.
and I feel like
Gotham was
this
fucking packed.
this was packed.
I said that at
just
one point.
bizarre.
I turned to my girlfriend. I was like, "Look at the amount of extras they had to use for that scene.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy."
Apparently, he cast De Niro as Bill the Butcher at first, but because the production took a little bit longer, he had to drop out. Good. I mean,
Yeah.
he would not have been a good Bill the Butcher.
Oh, I think he
I
would have been
think
a
he-
great Bill
I-
the
I would
Butcher,
say
but I
he
think
would have been good, but not like
no one could
this.
be like Daniel Lewis. I mean,
It's-
Daniel Lewis is incredible.
Also, shout out to the fucking person that made that haircut choice. Because when you look up
Yeah.
pictures of Bill the Butcher, he doesn't have that haircut in any of them. So someone on set was like, "How about we change this completely and give him a creepy ass look?" That like when he wears a hat, it looks kind of normal, and then when he takes it off, he looks unhinged
Yeah.
and sweaty.
So I want to talk about Liam Neeson for a quick second. So this was in, I call it the Liam Neeson kind of like the teacher or
Oh,
if you will, like a
Wide-
trilogy.
Yep.
We have Phantom Menace, which came out before this. And we have this, and then we have Batman Begins.
Yeah,
although
Ra's al
there
Ghul.
there was a turn there at the end, obviously. But it is interesting. He kind of played the same role in 3 different like major movies, and I really enjoyed him in all 3.
Yeah. Oh my
It
god. I
never
love
got
how
old.
Batman Begins. It's
Lo-
fa- I mean,
Love
fantastic.
Actually, kind of it. Oh, Kingdom of Heaven. He was also a teacher. He was right after that. He was playing like the Orlando Bloom's like dad that like teaches them how to fight and do all these things
Never
and be
saw
a
it.
king and all these or whatever. That was right before Batman Begins. Love Actually. I don't know. if that
Narnia
was-
played a lion.
played the big wise lion. Yeah.
There's always
damn.
a lot of wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
He voiced Aslan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was Aslan.
I didn't know that.
K-19 the Widowmaker. I don't think he was really doing much there.
I saw no. He was like he was
An officer.
on the sub. He was
Yeah.
like the
And then you get into like Taken Liam Neeson.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
he becomes an action.
That's
star.
right after this. That's crazy how all that kind of lines up.
Robbie, you said this is lower tier Scorsese. I find that I love Scorsese. I know you do too.
It's not a bad movie.
What
Like
what are
lower
your
tier
comparisons?
Scorsese.
we're gonna that's tier.
Yeah.
I think
What's,
this is-
what's around it?
Yeah. Just
What
real
would be
quick, I guess
around
we're
it?
gonna do it later, but
What else is lower tier Scorsese?
Yeah.
for you?
It would be there with like The Aviator.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I see. I think this is significantly better than The Aviator, and I like The Aviator. It's fine. It's good.
I think it has a lot of those same issues where it runs long and he starts pulling on too many threads and it just gets a little bit away from him.
If this was 2.5 hours, I think it would have been like, I don't think anything changes.
Oh, I
It's
guess
not so
it
much
is
the
longer.
runtime as much it is like I think there's time he could have spent elsewhere, especially with Brendan Gleeson's character as like the Irish heart of
I would like
the
to see more of
town.
him.
The Tweed stuff I think kind of gets shoved to the side at points, which I don't love because I think that's kind of like the main conflict that comes
Yeah.
to a head at the very end is this new America pushing out the old. I wish we had more of that versus Leo with Cameron Diaz, his like revenge story. I don't find that as interesting as kind of what I think
did. I really
Scorsese
liked that.
wanted.
Me too.
Yeah.
I can understand what you're saying with some of the love interest with Diaz and that kind of that love triangle.
I like
you
the
will.
first act stuff more where he's more just learning, getting in with the gang, and he's with his friend Johnny, was it?
Yeah, Henry Thomas. That's my one casting.
Oh,
like,
he's not great.
I don't think
he's
he's ever been in anything again. Really, like
No.
Well, he's in the Mike Flanagan stuff.
Yeah, he's in House of Usher. He was actually
He's in all of
good at that,
those.
Yeah.
He's also was in the movie he made too, the Shining sequel. He loves Henry
Dr.
Thomas
Sleep?
for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't Doctor Sleep?
I don't like Henry Thomas. I think he's a small role. I think he plays Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
I think he's got a rough wig in this movie too.
Yeah, I mean, you got E.T. and then it kind of falls off after.
Oh,
that
that's
for
right.
him.
He's a kid.
He's a kid in
E.T.
E.T.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let her steal from me all the time.
yeah.
But I wonder if he's supposed to be that way because he's such a weak character, and we kind of see that develop as the movie keeps going. He's a kind of a, but I don't know. For some reason, I always feel like that performance falls short, where everyone else is like a 30 game,
So
including Cameron Diaz, who I think has got really very unfair treatment. I think she's quite good in this.
Yeah,
I think she's fine. I think she's the problem is it's all relative and like
Other than those
by two like
the
A tier
accent,
great
yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
Does she stand out because she's the only woman with a speaking line in this movie?
maybe.
Yeah, that's true. The other one's like a psycho claw lady.
Yeah,
I don't know
right,
why
yeah.
not.
There to be naked in scenes with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah. What was your favorite scene?
Okay, so my favorite scene, and I don't know if this is going to be like a weird one to pick or if it's like, yeah, that's the most iconic scene, but it's the one I mentioned before where right after Leo and Cameron Diaz sleep together for the first time, he wakes up in the middle of the night, right after he had given the drunken speech, like to Bill the Butcher. And Bill is just sitting there. He still has the bandages on. He's got wrapped in the fucking American flag.
That's
It's
so
such a
awesome.
cool shot.
Great
He
scene.
looks so awesome. And the tension of him saying, you know, I've survived this long is fear.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've feared getting killed, rising up. And he's basically telling Leo, hey, be careful. I know what you're thinking, or he doesn't know at that point, but he's got maybe a little inkling after the toast was strange. And he's with Cameron Diaz and he's like sensing the jealousy. The tension you feel in that scene is like, that was my favorite part of the movie by far. And the way it's shot is so cool too. Like Leo being so vulnerable in the bed. Cameron Diaz, you find out about the backstory right afterwards with her and stuff. You have a feeling like she's awake and listening to this, right? Like, come on. And he's just so he's so good in this movie.
He's so like
Okay.
venomous in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
every scene like he sits there and like tap the fake eye.
Oh yeah.
Oh, with the
knife?
knife? I was thinking that. How did he fucking do that in the actual shot? Did he come real close to his eye?
Yeah,
And they
no.
it must have added the sound later.
No,
The fake
never.
eye was a great choice too. Like the close-up shots of it where you could see the little grooves in it, how it
Yeah.
looks weird and nasty.
Yeah.
It was great.
What was your favorite scene?
I love this movie so much. I give it a 9.8. I really, or 98 on your scale. I really love this movie. So I've watched it, I don't know, 20 times maybe. It's just when fucking Liam Neeson just kicks that door and we're in this world and it's the very beginning of the movie and he's
That scene is
the door,
great. Yeah.
it's snow and then we're introduced to Bill the Butcher and it signifies to me is like, all right, we're on this ride.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's meet these characters I really enjoy. I'm a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan. I feel like he's very good in this movie. He's fine. He's also like, it's not a role where you kind of like pop out because he's kind of, he's
agree.
he's the protagonist. He's not a lot. The things are happening around him. He's not necessarily, forced in the action a lot of times. And his character is supposed to be kind of like an everyman. But that scene with those two guys squaring off and knowing what we're about to now go through is just, I remember being in the movie theaters. I was like, 21? And I was talking with these guys about it. DiCaprio makes Titanic. He got nominated for an Oscar for Gilbert Grape. He makes Titanic, becomes like a huge star to some extent, but then takes a couple years off, makes The Beach, which bombs.
Mm.
When this comes out, he's not a superstar. He's not. He's top building this, I know, but he's not a superstar. And this came out the very same month as Catch Me If You Can. And this is when he grabs the throne. It was supposed to be Brando to De Niro to Edward Norton. And this is when he basically just like body checks Edward Norton. He's like, nope, I'm this generation's greatest actor. And he just runs with it. And it's this movie that kind of sets all that in motion. I don't know, man. I really love this movie. But yeah, it's when he kicks that door, we see that white snow and we know, here we go. And it's the beginning of a guy becoming a superstar, even though he's not even in that scene, but he looms over everything.
You raise a good point that I think this is one of the few movies where DiCaprio has probably the least to do with my enjoyment of the movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like usually it's like, wow, this Leo performance is amazing, or his version of this character, his character driving this moment. Like neither his performance nor his character are my favorite parts of this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. It's just like that's how the gravity of
It's just
Bill
how it is. And even in Titanic, you're drawn to him. He's so magnetic. He's so charismatic. And even in Gilbert Grape, right? Like he is, you're like, oh, this character's really interesting. This is a really, Johnny Depp's obviously moving the movie along, but you're interested. Like you're right. This is the movie where you guys mentioned like Brendan Gleeson. Like this is the first time I'd ever really seen him in a movie. He's so great. Jim Broadbent is so great. Everything around him is so amazing. The sets, the spectacle, the action. That DiCaprio kind of gets lost sometimes.
Yeah. What was your favorite scene, Gooch?
It would be the same as Robbie's, but outside of that, I would go in the bar when they fight. That first fight where he's like, "What does he call him at first?" And he's like, I don't even know what that.
A
Like,
boggling
I don't know what
fens
that.
or something. Yeah.
It's like if I knew what that meant,
Fens.
I'd have the right mind and take offense to it. Like, yeah,
You call me
Yeah,
like what he's like, you call me a chitlin or something? Or
Yeah.
it's like, supposing I am. That guy was really good.
The scene where they're bringing it's the funeral and they're walking through the town too, and Leo Bill Butcher like smirks or giggles or something, and Leo says like challenge, and he's like challenge accepted, and the way he says it with such confidence, like you could tell he ran that fucking city and people feared him, and the way he just smiled like he knew it was coming, he was like, yep, we're gonna do that. Honestly, I really like the ending too. Like when the shrapnel's fucking going off, you expect the battle to be one thing and it's very different.
Yes.
I like that. I really didn't expect fucking cannons to start hitting. And then this isn't a one-on-one fight. It's like Bill the Butcher's coming out of the fucking smoke and hitting him in the knees. And then he gets hit with shrapnel and he gives him the look like, I know you're about to hit the kill shot I showed you how to hit before, but do what you got to do.
Yeah. What were you saying, Gooch?
Oh, I was gonna say my other favorite scene would definitely just be the intro to Bill the Butcher when he's initially talking about the 5 boroughs and his fist. He's like,
"Close my
like
hand and makes a fist."
That's a great delivery and like transition too.
Also, his hat that he was wearing under the hat sometimes, just like the swim cap looking thing.
Like an old 1920s motorcycle helmet or whatever.
Gimbal or something.
Where are you on this? So Robbie doesn't like it as much as Robbie, and I think I like it probably most in the room. But where are you?
I'm probably between Robbie and both Robbies, I guess. I would say like it's definitely not my favorite Scorsese movie. There's parts of it I think I like it less now than I did when I first watched it, for sure, in the same same sort of like realm as Gooch. But I still like a lot about this. I still think Bill the Butcher is one of the great villains that you'll see in all cinema. His performance is amazing. A collection of a lot of very good scenes, but I also agree that it is at points kind of all over the place as far as like pacing goes. And that's not to say like I'm not a person who I'm like this movie needed to be shorter. You needed to shave 30 minutes off.
No.
There's no scene where I'm like, wow, you could have cut this in, it would have been no difference. Like, no, but I think it could have been tighter for sure. What was your least favorite scene?
This one's easy for me. There's a scene where they make dogs fight vermin.
The dog chases down the rats.
I hate that. Even in movies, I'm just like, I don't want to see dogs, dog ring, this type thing, like going off. Yeah, that I didn't like. I love the scene, but I didn't like seeing Brendan Gleeson die. I was like, I didn't want him to die at the end, but the scene is so fucking good. The confrontation and the way they like basically alert the whole town beforehand too. There's a weird transition in that scene though. Right after Brendan Gleeson dies, you hear like applause, and then it cuts to the next scene. The applause was from the next.
Yeah.
But I was like, is the town fucking cheering? Savages? Because they cheer when the guys get hung.
So I think that's intentional. I think that's exactly what they're showing.
Yeah.
And the same with the dog and the vermin. I think they're showing how not that long ago, our whatever great grandparents were barely human beings.
Yeah.
Like they were like we're not that far removed from being these
like animal
horribly violent creatures. So I think that applause is very it was obviously Scorsese.
The applause for the hanging was crazy.
Yeah.
And the way that everyone treated the hanging.
Yeah, the guy like selling his necklace.
Yeah, he was like, oh, how are you? How are you feeling? Right as he's like, oh, I'm doing all right, you know. Offers him $150 for the necklace. He gives it to him. And then they clear that off because they got a festival that night. They're like, oh, we got a party tonight.
Yep. It's just crazy.
And the fact that they killed him for no reason. They were like, yeah, I think we got to hang some people.
Yeah.
Pick 4.
Yep.
It reminded me of because I just watched Godzilla -1 again because it came on Netflix. Like the whole scene where they're like, we've treated life too cheaply. Like that's the entirety of this movie. Life is so cheap.
Yes.
They're
votes. They're not lives. They're votes.
There's a full-on civil war happening.
Yeah.
In the background, which I love the way they treat the war, by the way. That is maybe one of the most genius things about the movie is that you have this war going on, and just like today, it's like there'll be a war going on. That's not what we're fucking talking about ever.
Yeah.
Like we're just living our lives, and that's kind of what they got going on too.
Exactly.
Like, at no point does the fucking Civil War really affect anything outside of being like, yeah, you getting drafted.
They're not even drafted. You have to vote. What do they give you? They give you a piece of bread. It's like, oh, if you just sign this, and now you're enlisted in the war. So you're going to get off the boat, and now you're instantly thrown into the bloodiest war in American history.
What was your least favorite scene, Gooch?
Yeah, it's really anything with Cameron Diaz. I mean, just that I just never believable as like a couple or like love interest. The biting. That's what it is. I hate when people do that chomp thing.
The
I hate that
jump thing.
noise. Yeah.
That scene was the second they start hitting each other. Like it's like, oh, they're gonna fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little like, all right.
And I don't, she's too nice of a person for me to ever believe to be like a con person. You know what I mean? She didn't have like an ounce of like,
I bought her as a
she
pickpocket.
doesn't have
Yeah.
any mouth, like, you know what I mean? Even like
She's a
Margot
Jenny.
Robbie in, even like Margot Robbie in, what was that one she
And
did?
pickpocketer with Will Smith.
With Will Smith.
Focus.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
Focus.
focus. Like, she has like an ounce of like malice to that performance, you know what I mean? Or Venom. And like, you just never get that. Karen needs to start.
I
being
almost
nice
felt
to
like
her.
that helped her as a pickpocketer, as someone you wouldn't expect. Like the nice little girl is like, you talk to her and you swoon over her for a second, and oh, your watch is gone.
I don't know, I agree though. She was definitely like the most, like, there's too much time maybe spent with her that could have been spent elsewhere, and that's maybe people are expecting anyone from
Yeah.
Barstool to say that, but like it's just true. She was like the weakest link in this cast, but no fault of her own because Daniel Day-Lewis and Leo are just mega stars.
Funny scene
Yeah.
when he's like, how do I get this shit off you? And she's like, we'll be here all night. Like,
Yeah.
you're not taking that off, dude.
What was your least favorite scene as the one who likes the most?
Not so much of a scene, but I feel like there's a situation where the movie drags. It's too long from when the reveal of Daniel Lewis hating DiCaprio. Like they become enemies too soon.
Yeah.
Or maybe the better way to say it is they become enemies and we stay with the movie for too long.
Okay,
Like that could have been tightened up.
Yeah.
sure.
Because once that reveal happens, once we know that DiCaprio and Daniel Lewis are adversaries, then we know we're headed toward a confrontation.
Yep.
So we know that as filmgoers, and for it to take that long to get to a confrontation, it goes beyond suspense into something else. I'm not gonna say boredom because it's not, because it's an amazing movie. I've watched it a million times. I enjoy it every time I watch it. But it goes through an area where maybe we could, like Darby said, we could probably tighten that up a little bit.
I mean, the
Mhm.
first confrontation leads to a confrontation. The first confrontation is, hey, we're not going to have this confrontation right now. We'll
Yes.
have it in the future.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, all right, don't tell me, show me.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then lastly, would you recommend it to anybody?
definitely. I already have. I texted Clem. Clem's never seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
And I was like, I really think you would like this movie. I told him, I was like, I know the runtime is daunting, but it is not boring. Like it is a very, and that's pretty much the best thing I could say about a 2-hour, 47-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's like, you will truly be entertained the whole time. And like I said, how could you not recommend this when it's like, I feel like I was missing something not having seen one of the best like villains in cinema. Everyone talks about him like that. So he's always on the lists. He'll be
Yeah.
Darth Vader, fucking Thanos, Bill the Butcher.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of have to check this one off the bucket list.
Yeah. Obviously you would recommend it, but Gooch?
Yeah, I definitely would. If for nothing else, like if you don't enjoy it, you'll undoubtedly enjoy Daniel Day-Lewis's performance. Like it is
Yeah.
just undeniable.
The visuals and the history and
Yes, and the set, like you said,
the
the
set
sets
designs
are-
are
oh
great.
my
And
god,
the
the
costumes.
costumes.
the
Ooh.
direction's really obviously Scorsese. The direction's incredible. And I showed it to my wife during COVID. We just got married. We got married January 25th, and then COVID happened. So yeah, we watched it during COVID. She loved it. I recommend it to everyone. I've been recommending it. It came out in 2002. I've been recommending it to people. I saw it the day it came out. So since December 21st, 2002, I've been recommending it to people.
Damn.
Where would you rank that 2002 movies? Because our friend Richard Roper had it #1.
Yeah, which is
I watched an old
that's-
YouTube video from their end of year. Him and Ebert didn't have it in his top 10. Roper #1.
Let me think. What else came out that year?
Lord of the Rings, Two Towers.
All right, well,
Yeah, Clemmer's got that at
Okay.
the bottom.
City of God.
I like this better.
Spirited Away, I think was
Born
that year
Identity.
too.
Yeah,
I mean,
Adaptation.
honestly, for me, it's I hate to say it, but like this, Catch Me If You Can.
28 Days Later. Adaptation.
Yeah, no, this might be it. I want to say I remember rooting for that Oscars.
I'm curious where, if this is a 98 for you.
I might be Rich
Road to Perdition.
Oh, Road to Perdition ahead of this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I know it's like your number one.
Yeah, Road to Perdition is the most beautiful film ever made.
So gorgeous.
Have you
man.
seen that, Robbie?
Yes.
Okay.
Based on your recommendation.
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
I
I
loved
love that
it.
movie.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, so I Road to Perdition is a better movie.
Spider-Man.
I mean, it's good.
About Schmidt.
No,
Clemmer, if this is a 98 for you, what would you rank Casino and Goodfellas?
both 100s.
Okay.
They're both perfect.
So let's do that. We're gonna do a.
So would this be like your third favorite Scorsese?
I think so, right? Like, what am I? So I'm not a huge. I think Taxi Driver and Raging Bull are really interesting, really dark. I don't. To me, they're brilliantly made. They're just not my favorites.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, we can do it, Rob. What do you think? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll do a
is everything-
Scorsese little tiering right now.
Okay.
Really quick.
Let me
I
pull them
think
up
we've
here.
actually done it like a long time ago, but we'll do it with like this full
Yeah,
group.
we did it after Killers.
Yeah, right after Killers. So let's start off with and the tiers go like this. I'm recording it on my screen, but you which obviously Gucci can't see, but they'll
Yeah.
be able to see it. So it's cinema is its own tier. This is all then great, good, decent, mid, bad, terrible. I don't think we're hitting anything really in terrible, but
I haven't seen a lot of them. I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of the famous ones, but
so starting off with one I'm assuming that you haven't seen. I don't even remember anything about this one. Who's that knocking at my door?
Not seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't
I'll put
seen
that.
it.
I'll just throw it in the terrible one for now, just as a have
We
not
just go
seen.
I mean, I haven't seen
chronologically.
it. Yeah. I mean,
The Color of Money.
okay. Color of Money is what is the tier after cinema?
It's cinema, then great, then good. I would probably have it in great or good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What do you think, Gooch?
Yeah. Bottom of great, top of good.
Color of
One of
Money
those
is
two.
fantastic. The Hustler is very good. The original, to add Tom Cruise and then have Scorsese directed was incredible. If you haven't seen it, if you like old movies, Hustler, Paul Newman, Jackie Gleason, check it out. It's very good.
The Last Temptation of Christ.
I saw this when I was a kid. It's a muddy mess.
Yeah.
What is after
I would
great
put it
good?
in mid one probably.
What's after mid?
After mid is bad.
No, it's not bad. It's mid.
Yeah, I would put it in Gooch.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Gooch?
Yeah.
That's a movie that's all over the place.
Okay,
Like-
Goodfellas. I think needs to go straight to the top, right?
Cinema.
Obviously
Yeah.
straight to the cinema tier. Cape Fear.
Great Fear is good.
Hey, I'm great.
Really?
You haven't great.
It's a little bit of a cartoon.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember really fucking with De Niro on that one.
Yes. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like Nick Nolte is like just chewing scenery. You get a really good Robert Mitchum. Juliette Lewis is really good. There's a frightening scene with her and De Niro in the school gym or school theater. But De Niro it's kind of ridiculous.
Mhm.
I mean,
All right, let's go good.
Good.
he hangs in the
Good.
bottom of a car for an entire road
Yeah.
trip.
He's jacked.
He
He is massive in that
He's
movie.
fucking jacked.
The Age of Innocence.
I haven't seen it. I cannot say. I haven't
That
seen
one's
it
going to
forever.
as well. Casino, I think, is either in great or cinema.
For me, it's cinema. But
I would probably put it great personally. It felt a step below Goodfellas to me.
What do you think?
Great for me, but that is also I'm not big on gambling movies,
Mm.
anything with casinos. Vegas is not my favorite setting. Let's put it that way.
Got it.
Casino and Goodfellas are two of my top favorite films of all time.
Kundun.
I haven't seen
Excuse you?
it.
I'll
I
put that
haven't
in
seen
the I'll put that in the bottom as well. Which one is this?
I feel bad if some of these.
Bringing Out the Dead. Yeah.
Brand Dead, that's
Oh, yeah.
Nicolas
With Nick
Cage.
Cage.
I
Yeah.
saw it. That's either like mid or what's above mid? Good?
Decent.
Decent. I think that's
Yeah.
perfectly decent.
Now Gangs of New York.
I have it as cinema, but I understand.
I would probably go great.
I would say good or great. Gooch.
Yeah, I would say good.
So let's say between all of us, that'd be great.
I think so.
The Aviator. The Aviator I have as like
I would say good
decent.
or decent. Yeah,
That's good. I enjoy
Good or decent. Yeah, I like it.
I think decent is. What do you think, Gooch?
Yeah, I put it in good.
Like I watched that movie saying it was good. Like it
Yeah.
deserved an Academy Award
That is
nomination.
a good movie.
Didn't deserve to win.
Okay, so
I
we'll put
love
that in
Leo's
the-
performance in that.
He's good. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Who's the actress?
Kate Blanchett
Thank you. She's
Yeah.
with
fantastic. in
her
that. As
mid-Atlantic
Hepburn.
accent is so good.
Boxcar Bertha.
I've not seen it.
You're fine.
That's a weird one.
The Departed. I would have that in either cinema or great.
I have it as great.
I'd go great.
I'd go
Huge.
great too. Yeah, no,
I haven't seen that
I've-
one in so long now.
Like-
I might love it if I watch it again.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I gotta say, I know it's a small thing. That rat walking at the end just it pissed me off when I was in the movie theaters. It pisses me off now.
Shutter Island. I would put it probably good or decent.
I would say good.
I'm good.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think Shutter Island's good.
Decent.
I'm at decent. I don't love that
If you guys
movie.
want to go decent with that, I'm okay with that. I'm good or decent.
Yeah.
The way Leo wears his towel in that, hysterical, right up to the nipples.
Yep. All the way up the top.
Yeah.
Hugo.
I have not
I'm
seen.
at like a
Decent.
mid, I think.
Is that good?
Gooch.
Yeah, is that
mid?
I watched it as a kid and I liked it.
Yeah.
Remember me and my
That's
dad went to go see it.
Francesca Scorsese's favorite Martin Scorsese movie.
That
Oh,
makes
really?
perfect
Interestingly
sense.
enough,
yes.
yes.
All right.
Wolf of Wall Street, I would have as great.
I'd say great.
I
I
have
would say-
decent.
You would have
Really?
nothing. Really, that
Yeah.
far down?
Low on it.
Yeah, we got the message half hour, and I get it. Money ain't great. I hear you. Yeah, all right. Thanks.
So,
Being greedy is bad. Thank you. I don't need a cautionary tale for 3 hours.
I do.
But it's not so.
I
It's
need it.
fun. I felt like it was more
It is
fun
but
than
it's
cautionary.
until I get bored. And maybe that's I almost wonder if that's for me, or at least was the point. Like, yes, it's like we really want to hit you over the head with this so hard. Like,
Yeah.
but to me, it was too much. But
The only I would say great. The only thing that brings it down for me is its fan base.
Yeah, the fan base
Yeah.
is misunderstanding the movie.
Horrendous. Just
Like-
college bros that are like,
Same
George
thing
Belfort's the
happened.
man.
The same thing happened with Wall Street when that came out. Al
Yeah.
Capone, you had the people didn't get it.
Yeah.
Even like American Sniper, people like my age when that
Yeah.
came out were like, this fucking rocks, man.
Putting the Punisher logo on
You
there.
want,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to talk about one that we could do again? I've never seen American Sniper.
Really?
I
That's a good
want.
one,
I
yeah.
don't know why I haven't seen it. It's a complete blind spot for me. But we ever do this
I think it's
again?
like a must-watch
a
movie.
good
or anything like
movie.
that.
No.
It's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a-
not
it's a
must watch,
very
but
good
yeah,
movie.
it's
That's
very,
one I
very
haven't
good.
seen.
Here's a movie I think is extremely underrated in his filmography, which is Silence. I think the movie is weirdly very good.
I go great.
Uh,
I would
have
go
it.
great.
I would have it bottom of great as well.
Is
I
that
think
I have not seen Silence.
very good movie.
You guys that high on it, huh?
Dude,
It's
totally
great.
out of his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
in every possible sense of the phrase, and it is insanely good.
Don't give anything away, but like, what is the best part of it? Like, what is like?
Garfield, honestly, like
Yeah, the performances are just fucking.
It's like
insane.
trying to
all of them.
It's him,
Sorry.
Adam Driver, right?
Adam Driver, Garfield, Liam Neeson, a couple other guys too. Blank on the names. But it's incredible. It's
It's
like
about priests. Is
yeah.
that what it's about?
It's
Yeah.
about like Portuguese missionaries in Japan, and it's like basically how far can someone be before they get like broken, more or less, because these guys want to get them to like the Japanese authorities, like they make Catholicism illegal. So they basically want to break these guys. They imprison these priests, and they want to break them and get them to renounce God and like step on his icon, which is like the one thing the priests couldn't do. So it's like, how far can you drive them? I'm gonna kill 15 people in front of you unless you step on that, like shit like that. Like,
And it's that good.
it's very
All right,
very
all right, on the list. All right.
Scene with Adam Driver in the Bay.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, wait, you saw that clip? I think and you texted me. I didn't know Adam Driver was in this. Was that it?
Yeah.
I think that might have been it.
Because I saw a clip recently and this was such a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
I saw that Martin Scorsese made a movie with Adam Driver and Andrew Garfield. And I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way that's true.
Dude, it's very fucking good.
Which one of them is going to end up playing Jesus in his Jesus biopic? he's-
Garfield, probably.
You think it's going to be
Garfield?
Garfield?
I bet
Garfield or Driver?
I think Driver's too big. He's got those
Physically
giant
large.
shoulders.
And he's
His
also
voice is too deep.
Jesus wasn't in the gym.
You can't play Kylo Ren and Jesus.
also, like, not-
You can't kill Han Solo and then play
he's
Jesus.
not nice enough. He's scary looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
True.
I think Garfield's like more inviting. I would fall for a cult of Jesus.
Ooh,
of
was
Andrew
Garfield the one that we were thinking about earlier that was
With-
originally supposed to play the Frankenstein
Oh,
and the bride?
You
Was-
might be
Think
right.
you're right. Yeah.
I think
You
that
might
was
be
it.
right about that. Yeah.
'Cause I think when he dropped, that's when people were like, "Oh, he's dropping for the Scorsese Jesus movie."
Mhm.
Yes.
The Irishman. I would have it in good.
Good.
Oh, I have it. I have it as great borderline cinema. But
Borderline cinema.
Borderline cinema.
Yeah.
I really liked it, but that one scene brings it down for me.
that's tough.
It's
But
really
no,
sad.
I've never seen a movie or any work of art, maybe Sopranos of Uncle Junior, show what happens when people get old, like
The
criminals.
third
E-
act of it's incredible.
When
Yeah.
evil gets old, what are they left with? They're left with nothing but their paranoia and dark thoughts. And that to me is so compelling and interesting. Especially as like I get older. It's like, what does it mean to age? What does it mean to get older?
Yeah.
When you hit 40, you start having those thoughts. Like I've lived more than half my life. So it's like, all right, what does that mean as I get older? And that movie, I think it's you guys want to go. I go great. Maybe not cinema because the kicking scene is tough, but
the first two
I
acts,
think I like it more than most too, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude,
I love the
Pesci-
Hoffa hit too.
she's
Like
insanely good in it.
the way
Pesci
they
is great.
shoot the hit on Hoffa is
Yeah.
fucking
Incredible.
awesome.
I don't really like Pacino that much in it.
Yeah, I
he's
think
he's like a cartoon character. I think
yeah.
Pesci is incredible.
insanely
Pesci's
good.
as Russell
great,
Buffalo.
De Niro's great.
De Niro's
Good
great.
Grape juice today.
De Niro didn't even get nominated, which is
Yeah.
It's weird.
he got nominated as a producer.
Great, and I mean great third act in general, but the actual like cut to credits moment is so.
Oh,
The prison scene in general, just like every time they're in the prison together is incredible.
I'm due for a rewatch on that. I've
Me
only seen
too.
it once when it came out.
it's Criterion.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, is
Mean
it?
Streets. Mean Streets, I think, is going to be in the
Yeah.
great for me.
I've
It's
never seen it.
really
That's
goddamn
high
good.
on my list. I really want to see Mean Streets.
Um,
I'm going to put in good, actually.
I
Good.
would lean that way too, but Robbie, I wonder if I need to see it again. I saw it
Yeah.
when I was younger than you guys, so I saw it 25 years ago, and I had it as good. But I think I might have missed things. I was younger than you guys. I was in college.
I mean, there's a lot of like these, like it's De Niro, like Keitel, like all these guys,
No, and yes,
like all young, like really like kind of working at their craft still.
It's got
Really
some
fucking good.
Sopranos actors in it, right? Richie Aprile, maybe.
is he in that?
I think someone
is-
from The Sopranos is.
I'm
in Mean
I'm
Streets.
positive there is.
There is-
Positive, there's probably multiple.
There's an element of that movie that feels maybe empty is a word I want to use. Maybe that's not the best word, but like there's something missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way, Robbie? Why don't you have it in great? Is there something off about it to you?
It feels
Or
messy more than it just feels very early in a director's career.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like
how-
it,
yeah,
it doesn't feel. He doesn't feel fully polished, is what I should say. Like there's
Right.
just mistakes all over the place. And it's like he cleans himself up, obviously, moving forward. But I would wonder what that movie would look like if he made it today.
I felt the same exact way when I said, but I said I need to see it again.
Taxi Driver.
Yeah, cinema.
I mean,
It has to be cinema.
I mean,
There's no.
It
Shout out Paul
probably
Schrader.
I watched
Yeah.
this one for the first
Paul
time this year too, to do a podcast with Eddie and Rico, who like had never seen it. We all
Yeah.
watched it together. Watching it for the first time in 2024, like I understand the significance. It has to be cinema. I certainly wouldn't put it there.
Sure.
I would
Okay.
go good, maybe great.
So what is the definition of cinema? Is it, because I'm going to have the same argument about Raging Bull. Is it our favorites or is it great art?
Because then if it's great art, I think
Yeah,
obviously.
If it's great art,
Technically, the
then
way it
it's
was
cinema.
shot, yeah.
If
I
it's
think the way it-
favorites, I might even put it in good.
Okay, so I think that the way that we should do this is not necessarily the cultural impact. It's just like, where do we think of this as an individual movie versus the impact? So in that case, I think it would have to be
Like I
probably
don't even
great or
think
good.
it's close to Goodfellas. Not in the same stratosphere.
Yes.
So let's say great.
I have no problem with great. It's an amazing performance of someone who exists, this evil man
Yeah.
who has been turned away by society, who has nowhere to go and has all this anger and hatred inside of them. What happens? We saw it in Joker, right? Like,
Yeah.
so like that person exists. I don't want to spend any more time with that person.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't think I'll ever rewatch this movie. I don't
Sure,
think
that's
it
very
was
fair.
so
Very fair.
dark and long and just yeah, like I don't even really like Joker that much, but like I would much rather watch a movie
Me
like
too.
Joker than this.
Albert Brooks ended up being right. It was very right.
Yeah, and Silver Shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Peter Boyle, Everybody Loved Raymond, the dad,
that's right.
is the wizard in that movie.
Move this one off because we haven't seen that. Raging Bull.
I have the same exact take as I just told you.
I like it better than Taxi Driver.
I like Taxi Driver a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. So I think great is a good.
I would say
fit.
great is fair
Yeah.
for Raging Bull.
That is like it's very like I think if you go back and look at most of his other movies, they're pretty like I would say I mean not average, just like not like this is way more unique than most of his other
Yeah.
movies. I would say from that period. Like most other ones, like they follow like a pretty basic path for any given movie. Raging Bull, I think it was a little more unique try.
Jake LaMotta is such. Jake LaMotta lived to be like 90 something. He lived
Yeah.
forever,
Yeah.
and he was like just this horrible, human trash bag. It's that
Mhm.
despicable creature that I'm glad is on. Like I'm glad the movie was made. It's brilliant. It might be his most brilliant work, but I don't really enjoy it.
Another one that's it is brilliant, but you would much rather watch a movie like Goodfellas over again than
Yeah.
Raging Bull.
Yes,
The King of Comedy. I would have this higher probably than
I have this in cinema, but
yeah. I would have this.
I might be alone there.
Another blind spot for me.
I would have this in great.
I just restarted it for like the first time in years a couple months ago, and I wish I had finished it because I do think if I went back and rewatched it in full, I would have it in cinema. Off like memory, I have it in great, but
I'm
I have
okay
no
with-
problems with putting it up.
Yeah. I
Is
think-
Scorsese in the movie? He's second cast.
oh, he's in the
De
movie.
Niro,
I don't-
Scorsese.
He's definitely in the movie. I don't remember him being
Yeah, he's not-
second
it's Jerry,
bit.
Jerry Lewis is the
Yeah.
and then Sandra Bernhardt has a huge
Yeah.
role. If you guys want to go with great, it's for me, it's like tears between great and cinema. It's fantastic. It's the looking into a warped mind and like what is ego is just
Mhm.
so compelling. And
Af-
De Niro is amazing.
After Hours.
Cinema.
I have to watch. I just got the After Hours Criterion. I haven't
Yeah.
rewatched it. I haven't watched After Hours since I was 8 years old in HBO, so I have to take myself out of the running.
I'd say like top of good.
I think it's
A
cinema.
black
I-
comedy film.
I love that movie.
You think that would be in cinema? Like it would be that
Griffin
and Goodfellas would
Dunn.
be the only two
Griffin
movies in that.
Dunn. Philip K. Glass on the score. Come on.
Does it hold up, Robbie? Gooch?
Yeah, I think
two
it
Robbies.
holds up. I mean, it's just like you ever had a night out like that? Like it's just like it's endlessly kind of relatable and funny and like there's something so charming about that movie.
I have it at home waiting for me.
That's
I need to watch
so
this.
horrifying at the same time. I could see why someone would hate the movie, to be honest, because it's so uncomfortable at points. But I love it,
So last thing we
especially
have,
especially the score. Man,
well, it's Philip Glass on the track. Killers of the Flower Moon.
You skipped New York, by the way.
New York wasn't on this. I didn't make this.
Which,
tier
by the
list.
way, New York is horrible. It is a
Where's-
musical with Robert De Niro and Eliza Minnelli. It's probably
That Scorsese made, directed.
Oh wait, no, it's on here. I just added it straight into the tarot into the. theme.
that can actually belong in terrible. I'm probably the only one here who saw this. It was on HBO a little bit. Yeah, De Niro and Eliza Minnelli in a musical. It was disaster.
And
I'm
then lastly,
sorry.
Killers of the Flower Moon, which I think I would have at like the top of good. I would say. I don't think I would put that in the greats next to like Casino or The Departed or Kings of Comedy. I think it would be right below that.
Is that what do we have in great right now? Can you read me off
So
great?
right now, cinema is Goodfellas. Great is Casino, Gangs of New York, The Departed, King of Comedy, Wolf of Wall Street, Silence, Taxi Driver, and Raging Bull. We should have just limited which ones we could go into each one. How many numbers could go in each one?
Yeah.
Good has I would just add it in temporarily. Curse of the Flower Moon, After Hours, The Color of Money, Cape Fear, Aviator, The Irishman, Mean Streets. Then decent is Bringing Out the Dead, Shutter Island.
I am between great and good for this.
I would say that roughly around the same thing. Gooch,
Which movie?
Killers of the
Sorry.
Flower Moon.
I had a dozen stuff, but Killers of the Flower Moon I would put it into the good category.
Yeah.
But
I would lean more toward great, but if you guys go good, I have no argument.
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
that's yeah.
it is a movie that I've thought about way more than I thought I would leaving the
Me
theater.
too.
Like I still think about it probably on a
Yep.
weekly basis.
Mhm.
It was very, very good. I don't know.
I've never seen a villain like DiCaprio play in a movie where it's someone who's like so dumb but evil. Like it sounds almost like obvious, but it's not. There's like so much complexity. Like the De Niro puppet master, we've seen that a million times.
Mhm.
But to see this character like also love the person that he's destroying at the same
Mhm.
time is such a weird and interesting conflict. I'd never seen that before. But movie's too damn long. You know, it really is.
is.
Like,
It is.
and there's not enough that I think there's enough stuff that happened bizarrely in real life. Like there was enough murders and stuff they could have showcased it more. We spend such little time. We spend more time on more boring things. I think I'd talk myself into good.
Need a little more juice. So our final ranking will be, or tiering will be Goodfellas in cinema, Casino, Gangs of New York, The Departed, King of Comedy, Wolf of Wall Street, Silence, Taxi Driver, and Raging Bull in great. Good is the Killers of the Flower Moon, After Hours, Color of Money, Cape Fear, Aviator, Irishman, Mean Streets. Decent is Bringing Out the Dead, Shutter Island, The Last Temptation of Christ, and Hugo are mid. And then our terrible tier is just all the ones that we haven't really
If
collected.
I haven't seen it, I feel bad putting it there. But I
Yeah.
will say New York belongs in terrible.
Should be actually in terrible.
That is.
But that's how good of a director Scorsese is.
Yes.
That there's so few of them are actually in the terrible tier. But yeah, that's our tiering. That's our review. I think we'll do another one of these next time. I think try to think of who's up. I guess you're up, Gooch.
What, to pick a movie?
For a movie that you haven't seen that we have seen.
Oh, I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, because you're a cinema head, so you're gonna have to see. You'll seen a lot of them.
I think
Yeah,
there's
but
like
I have very clear blind spots too. So
yeah, I feel like whenever I talk like some 90s stuff, I can send you some like 90s movies I really love. Like I
Ooh,
feel
you know
like
what I want to do, but I don't think it's on streaming anywhere. It's fucking Twister.
Twister.
oh,
I would
yeah,
love to do Twister.
That'd be
Twister's a
fun. Just like
movie.
a nice little dumb movie. Yeah, hell yeah. Some Helen Hunt action.
Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Holy shit. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
Every now and he'll show up in a rant and be like, look at a cast of a movie or something. Well, Philip Seymour Hoffman was in
and he's incredible. Like
Yeah.
it's a weird part, but he's really good. The cast
need-
actually is really interesting. Was it Jamie Gertz? Who's the
Paxton. Right.
Brandon Walker said it was the best movie of all time. Leaving the theater. I'm
No, that's-
kidding you. It was his favorite movie of all
Yeah.
time when he first
we're the
saw it.
same age. That's how you felt. It was because
Which
it was
makes which I'm so intrigued by that.
it's the follow up to Speed.
Jamie Gertz. Is that
Jamie Gertz. That's what I was trying to think of. She's married to a very important person. Oh, the guy that runs ESPN. Jamie Pitaro.
Tony
Jamie
Wrestler?
Pitaro. Jamie Gertz married the guy that runs ESPN right now.
Is it Tony Wrestler?
No, it's
That's the guy she's married to.
no Jimmy Pitaro.
Oh, I'm just showing you this one. Wikipedia says Jamie Gertz, spouse, Tony Wrestler, married
And
1989.
who's that guy then?
He is an American billionaire.
Oh, that's what it is. She married a billionaire. Someone else married Jimmy Pitaro. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Oh, you know, I know who it is now. Yes,
Guy's worth $12 billion.
she's worth. She's the
Jesus.
richest like actress ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie Gertz.
This now
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
That's what it is. That's right.
Jesus Christ. He's related to like 15 different billionaires now through that marriage. That's nuts. Okay, but that's the episode. We'll come back. Maybe we'll do some twisters. That'll be fun going into the next
Yeah.
episode. But until then, we'll see you guys next week.
So y'all.